Just
But
do
thank
this.
thank thank you for not mentioning she's a half dead chick. That was nice of you.
I did mention that chickling
What's
to me
what
was
is
dead.
what do they say about Arendar and Wraith? The only trouble they ever get in is when they get caught with a dead girl or a live boy.
Boy. Nice.
All right. So first of all, before we get into all the interesting things that happened last time, is everybody having a good weekend? Did everybody do anything? Did anybody do anything fun?
Yard work. That's why I look like this. I chose to game rather than showers because you guys can't smell me.
Ooh, I did yard work
No, I have a
yesterday.
scratch and sniff screen.
Ooh, sorry. Very sorry. It was a good day for yard work.
It was. We bought Marla and I bought 25 bags of brown shredded mulch.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we'll be mulching.
So what
You
smells
guys
nicer
are
on your
crazy.
house?
That'll smell wonderful there.
Yeah, and we're buying sod next weekend to put in where the basketball net used to be. So, but it's not anymore. But last night, funnest thing. So my cousins were back in town this weekend. So I told you guys about them that they're going to be moving down here. They were back in town looking at houses and talking to real estate agents and arranging for financing. They finally selected Regions Bank as their mortgagee of note. So we had dinner with them yesterday, and they were over Friday night for what turned out to be a massive strange A odds blowout. And then last night, Thias and I went to see Dawn of the Dead, 1978, on the big screen at the Alamo, at the Alamo Draft House in the city. So it was great. It's a great. I have never seen it on a big screen, and they did the theatrical version, and you'll love this. They opened the theater a half an hour before showtime. So at 8:30, the theater opened, in the actual theater, and they're running ads from the late 70s and early 80s for horror movies. And it's like Night of the Living Dead and Fangoria magazine and all these and it's all these sort of old horror movie ads that they're running as the previews. It was great. It was absolutely
The original
fantastic.
Friday the 13th or Halloween or.
They did Halloween. They did Night of the Living Dead. They did Day of the Dead. They did both a couple of different Walking Dead ones. They had the guy from Phantasm did an ad for Remember Fangoria magazine?
Yep.
Which was awesome. They had the guy from the tall man from Phantasm did an ad for Fangoria magazine where he opened up a coffin and it was filled with Fangoria magazines, and they were just these great old cheesy horror movie ads, and then the theatrical version of Dawn of the Dead 78 on the big screen. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Alamo Draft House. I was shocked. They have all kinds of they run all kinds of old movies. So they were running, I sent out a calendar earlier to everybody. They're running Holy Grail. They're having a Holy Grail watch party on Monday the 29th, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and they're handing out free coconuts and inflatable swords. And they've got and it's one of those theaters where they have you can order drinks and food and stuff, and they bring it to where you're sitting. And they had a full cocktail list, and I ordered a Guinness, which was not very well poured, but it was still it was better than nothing. And it was great. It's a really cool place. I recommend it. Did anybody else do anything interesting this weekend?
It was better than nothing.
That's true.
Just like my Guinness.
Beats work.
Yeah.
Very cool.
A nice slow weekend, which was really nice.
Good. I had a fast one, but still, nevertheless. All right. Well, let's talk about what happened last week. So and if I recall correctly from my review of the movie from last time, the video from last time, she's also largely nude.
Yes.
The prisoner. So basically, you guys. So this is the suite at the Griffin where Balan had previously arranged you guys to say, and let me get Vondram and Polearm on the screen so you guys know what's going on. You can get in on the action. Vondram, can you see and Poe? Can you guys see your guys now?
I see.
Do you have light going on? You probably don't have any light. Here you go. Let me put on your light.
Are we in our own room?
Yeah.
Yep.
Should be, yeah.
Yeah, there's no light.
Okay, 1 second. Let's do you first. How about now? Poe?
Second, I'm refreshing.
Okay. And
I see.
then
Oh, I think. Oh, no. There's Bondi.
okay.
I don't see anything still.
You're over here. You see
Wait a
that?
minute. Oh, yep. Okay, I got it. I was looking up top instead of down low.
Cool. All right. So you guys
Where am I?
oh, where are you? Where is Titus?
You disappeared me in the video.
Oh, that's right. Here we go.
There, I was hiding under the rug the whole time.
Yeah, you had to bail early. So, okay, so you guys are at the Griffin, and for Vondrum and Poe's benefit, I'm gonna quickly recap the sort of thing. So you guys got back to the Golden Griffin. You got the suite of rooms upstairs, and Balan had come back from talking to some people in town that he knew, and basically he had some news, and it wasn't great news. He basically said, "Look, Lord Gallows functionary in town." So to basically a lot of the nobles of the Bandu Hills won't necessarily always be in Bresk. They're at their own castles or they're in their own domains, and so they send what they call functionaries or proxies who actually sort of participate in sort of the governmental things with the king. And so in this case, Lord Gallows' proxy had been arrested for treason and has been thrown into prison. Lady Namus is here in person and has specifically spoken, and it's fairly common knowledge that she's not happy with Sequin and has spoken out to the king about Sequin in a negative fashion. Balan said he secured some proxies with meetings for the other lords, especially those lords that are allied with us. Specifically, the proxies that he's secured things were as Lady Timor's man, which is a guy named Captain Kauhilo, and Lord Dashgavan's man, which is a Wolfram of Wibbert is his name. And he's got some opportunities that after you guys present to the king, you'll be able to meet with them and talk with them and sort of get the lay of the land. Steppengard, while you guys were in transit from Sequin to Bresk, Steppengard signed it wasn't an alliance, but it's a non-aggression pact with Sargava, with the Sargavan representatives here, meaning that Steppengard's armies and the Sargavan armies are not going to fight each other, at least in the short term. That's a setback, especially since a lot of what the evidence that you guys have sort of been compiling leads to believe that the people behind the assassination of most of Steppengard's family, I mean, the suspicion points towards the Sargavans of sort of instigating this thing, so that this assassination, so that they can step in. What's the old sales thing? You create the problem in the customer's mind, and then you step in with a solution, and that's how you sell them things. Well, this is kind of like that. Lord Is and Lady Dane have largely they're dubious of the non-aggression pact. They have no love for the Sargavans, but they are loyal to the king, and they will remain loyal to the king whatever happens. In the meantime, the king's new Lord Chancellor is a gnome named and I'm going to mess this up, Nina Glibglammer. I didn't mess it up. Nina Glibglammer. She's a gnome, but she has for about the past year or so been essentially King Steppengard's Lord Chancellor. She has been very publicly anti-Sequin, and in that she has been sort of tacitly allied with Lady Namus, and she has also instigated the other lords to a certain leg where now you can say that Lord Magadon, Lord Rhaego, and Lady Naaman are all ostensibly hostile to Sequin. She's very anti-Sequin, and she has been, one can only assume that she has been advising King Steppengard against allying with Sequin and towards allying with Sargava. At this point, we don't know why she is so pro-Sargavan, but all indications tend to seem like that she is the Lord Chancellor. Now, then he talks about, so we talked a little bit about the Book of Eight Lands, which is sort of it's a magical book, or at least it's reportedly a magical book, which sort of keeps track of all the nobles of the Bandu Hills. And so like it's magical in that if a child is born to a noble woman of the Bandu, then that child's name is automatically sort of written in the book, and the book is kept somewhere in Steppengard's castle, but it keeps track of all those kind of relationships, and it keeps track of lineages, and it keeps track of like what's the word I'm looking for? Where if somebody dies, the next person who takes control.
Succession.
So order of succession. That's it. Exactly right. I kept wanting to say order of operations, and I knew that wasn't it. But yeah, order of succession, and it controls that. And according to what people are saying about the Book of the Eight Lands, is that Lord Magadon is the next in line because right now the only surviving son of King Steppengard has not reached the age of maturity yet. He's like 6 years old, 7 years old. So Lord Magadon is in line. Lady Naaman, as we historically have known, she's been trying to angle herself as being the next queen, right? So she's in town. She's been putting the full court press on King Steppengard to set herself up as the next queen. And frankly, she's got a pretty good chance of being it. If that happens, Lady Naaman is obviously she's a younger dwarvish aristocrat. She's certainly not beyond her childbearing years, and theoretically, were she to become queen and her and Steppengard could have more children, that would supplant Magadon out of the order of succession. To give Magadon credit, even though he's anti-sequent, he has stated publicly that he has no desire to become king, and seems to walk the talk. So nobody has even hinted that Lord Magadon may have been behind any of this or is aiming. In fact, he stated very publicly that he has no desire to be the king of the Bandu, and is loyal to Steppengard, which seems to be true. Balan made some discreet inquiries about Lady Dane's people that you guys found and whether they've been killed by the Talon, which they themselves, in a Speak with Dead incident, told you that had happened, that the Talons basically killed those guys. So far as word on the street in Bresk, it didn't happen. Nobody knows this. In fact, when Balan talked to some people, knowledge, they were pretty much said that's just rumor. Certainly, nothing like that could have happened. The Talons are a respected police force. They are searching for the the killers of the bulk of the royal family. They would never do such a thing. And so this basically saying, look, there's no rumors that this happened. And frankly, I brought it up to a couple of people that I trust, and they scoffed. Basically, they said this is impossible. All right, so all that basically, you guys came back to the suite of rooms. All right, see you in a bit, Eric, and sort of talk this over. Your audience with the king is literally the next day from now, and the next morning. So tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m., you guys are expected in court to state the case. Balan is expected in court to state the case to King Steppengard on behalf of Sequin, in full view of the court. In the meantime, a couple of things have happened. So that so the first thing that's happened is you got a delivery at your suite of rooms, and it was a note, and this is what the note said. Let me just go ahead and make this bigger for you. So it says, the representatives from Sequin are by this document invited to take wine with the Sargavan ambassador Ceramus and his retinue this evening at the 9th hour after the sun's apex at the ambassadorial suite at the Crown and Crest. Your attendance is expected. Not requested, expected. And there was a bit of discussion about that, about what to do with this. So when they talk about the 9th hour, it's 9 p.m. tomorrow night. This would be after your speech to the king, right? And so this added, there was a little bit of discussion about this while you guys are gone. But basically, like, what do we do with this invitation? And largely, the idea was nothing. We don't. It's the Sargavan ambassador. to Bresk. Why would he want to speak to you guys? And generally speaking, the attitude towards towards attending this meeting was largely, we should not attend this meeting. But now that you guys are here, that Poe and Vondram and Titus are back, there might be some alternative opinions to that. But it's the invitation is still outstanding. Second, late in the night, you guys were sleeping. Everything seemed sound. You had set up an alarm stone. Balan had set up an alarm stone at the front gates to provide a little a little bit of security. But I believe it was Arendar woke up hearing what sounded like a fight of some sort taking place in Balan's room. Got up, went in, checked it out, and it looked like a woman was strangling Balan. And she had already broken his nose. Blood was pouring down his face. She had his hand around her throat, and she was getting ready, if I recall correctly, she was getting ready to stab him. Something along those lines.
She wasn't going to stab him. She just kept beating him.
And she kept hitting him. She definitely had him around the throat. He was choking.
And it was Wraith and I. Actually, I think all three of us. I think Titus, Wraith,
Titus hurt as well.
Arendar.
All right, so you guys
Yeah.
ran in there, and she drank a potion and went invisible. And so there was Wraith sort of posted up at the doorway, and then Arendar and Titus began hunting. And finally got to the point where she tried to make a break for it and tried to bull rush Wraith out of the way so she could get out the door. Didn't work. Invisibility went away. And there was a bit of fisticuffs, at which point she was knocked unconscious. Now, there was a weird mix of lethal and non-lethal damage. But she eventually was knocked unconscious. Both Ono and Arendar basically patched her up to keep her alive, doing health checks and things like that.
Best we could because we're not Poe.
Right, well, you're not Poe. Arendar, you at one point were attempting to remove her kidney accidentally, and that
I'm pretty sure it had to
Ono
go. I think that was the problem.
Ono put a stop to that. And fixed her up. So now she is lying there unconscious. While she's unconscious, although patched up, she has stabilized. She is unconscious. She has
we
negative.
sent Ono to his room. Thanks for your help. Go on.
Yes, and this is where things.
You're not needed for the next part.
Well, things sort of to take a little slide here, because at that point, Arendar and Wraith basically took all of her equipment and clothing off.
Except
and
for her
now
underwear. We left her underwear.
left her underwear, which we agreed was both frilly and pink.
Yes.
I believe there's that. And then there was a bit of caution, because I was worried that things were going to go in an unpleasant direction, but that did not happen, and is not going to happen, because that's where we start tonight. Basically, Poe, you and Vondram come out of your rooms into the hallway, and you see Arendar and Wraith and Titus have basically captured, and the woman is tied up too, quite tightly. And basically, they've captured this half-elf woman, who has some. Here's what she looks like. Let's see if this will even work. Yeah, so she's got some eye black around her eyes. She's wearing leather armor, and so she had a couple of different things on her. One was she had some potions, a ring, and a bag full of her boots, some magical boots, and a bag full of masterwork shurikens, which told to Ono's point of view, these were monk weapons, so she might be a monk. But she was definitely beating the crap out of and potentially killing Balan. Balan is conscious, his nose is broken, he's covered in blood, and his voice is kind of ratchety because she was essentially strangling him in his sleep. But he is alive.
Actually, with what she was doing, we determined it was more than likely she was trying to capture and take him, not kill him.
Okay.
So
she was trying to render him
unconscious so she could move him or take him.
So, but now she's unconscious on the floor at your feet, tied up, as everybody emerges from their rooms, being like, what's going on? And so now we start. So I guess my question is, you've got her there. Poe, Vondram, you sort of brought up to speed. Any questions?
Oh, lots of questions, but I'll wait for today.
You can come in. I'm not going to stop you. We just wanted to make sure Ono got his beauty sleep.
Yeah, they had to said once they had captured her, they sent Ono back to his room.
It's like, no, you're good. Why don't you go get some rest? You
Which,
got
it's like that wasn't sweetening the deal, Let's send the lawful guy again. We've captured a half elf woman. Send the lawful good guy back to his room.
like,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh no, this is going in a weird direction. Let's not do this. But that's where we stand right now.
Okay. The interest of full disclosure, the party's been traveling enough with Wraith and Arendar enough. They know if they ever want to sour the mood, just bring up rape or anything about that. And Arendar and Wraith both get very serious and very angry, and so yeah.
Well, generally speaking, that is
Never an issue.
Not the sort of game I like to run.
Right.
So,
but didn't want Ono just in case I have to threaten that. Because I want answers.
well, she's unconscious now and has negative hit points, but she is
Right.
not. She is not bleeding out. Ono's
And
patched
she
her
still
up.
has her kidney, thanks to Ono.
Still has a kidney and a liver. But now she's unconscious.
Yeah, I can do a burst for her. And for
Okay.
Hang on, before we do this, I guess we need to be in agreement. I want answers no matter what, so I'm willing to threaten whatever to get them, especially before we may or may not take this to the authorities.
Do we want to try diplomacy first?
Chuck, I can't hear you.
That's because I muted myself. Okay.
Oh, okay. That would
Don't
actually
we-
be a good reason why.
Yeah, don't we have like a wand of zone of truth or something?
I think that's this game. Let me look.
I think we have one
Yeah.
with a handful of charges in it. So
I got 3 left. I got 3 charges left.
Yeah, we used it for
yeah, for that other chick. But I'm thinking we could back off, let him cast that on the zone that she's in, and then go back and do the questioning. And it might make it a lot easier with a lot fewer threats needed.
well, she can always choose not to answer.
Well, yeah, but she's at like
Want to try diplomacy first.
she's at like death's door on the floor.
Mhm.
So
Well, no, she's at -4 hit points, so not death's door, but she's been injured pretty hard. I mean, she's taken a couple of sword hits, Falcata hits to the abdomen, and I believe at some point Ono has punched her pretty hard. So, and then you hit her
Yeah.
a couple of times too, didn't you?
I don't know, but I'm just say, yeah, she can refuse. She can try to say nothing if she makes the saving throw, but that's the same as before. When the woman made the saving throw, she could try to avoid the question.
Should I try to charm her? I'm pretty dashing, if I do say so.
If you want
if
to,
we want to start with that, I'll let you try the good cop approach, and then
okay, we got
Yeah,
good,
I mean, before
I'll
we
come-
beat
I'll
the
come
shit
in
out of
with
her
bad
more
cop.
or waste
We
a
got-
perfectly good spell, let me see what I can get out of her.
we got good cop, murderous cop. So that's
There you go.
that'll work.
All right.
Good cop,
So we
worse
got-
cop.
Wait, which one am I?
You're good cop.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up because it could have gotten messy. 25 diplomacy.
Les, should I do a burst as the
A burst would bring her back to consciousness pretty quickly.
what I'm saying is though, is Balan also injured? Like that would help him, or should?
Yeah,
Definitely would help him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just going to do a burst then, and
Okay.
that'll affect both of them. Nobody else is damaged, right?
No,
No, it seemed like at least once discovered,
she was more
See-
trying to escape.
she was trying to escape. She wasn't trying. Yeah, she never. I don't think she ever attacked anybody but Balan. Oh well, she did do
She
a bull
tried
rush
Wraith.
on Wraith, but that was more of like a get out of the way kind of thing.
that didn't go well.
That did not go well. I rolled poorly. I chose poorly. All right, so 21 points. That was certainly Balan's bleeding obviously stops. He's like, oh, I'm looking a mess. And you could see him. So you could see him sort of over in the corner stealing himself. He's got his nose in his hand and he's just like, and he's just like, oh, God. That kind of thing. But you could see a big glurt of blood comes out of his nose. And he's like, oh, I did it again. And it's all over his sort of rich knife clothes.
He
But
did
you
that
could
before Poe came in here, so
Yeah, he
So he-
so he
So it should
wrenched
be
his
more
nose
healed.
back. You could hear this like horrifying crack as his broken nose goes back into place, and it's all he's all bleeding from the thing. He's like, oh god, he's reaching for things. So, but yeah, he feels a lot better. She wakes up, and you could see at first she's like her eyeballs are fluttering, her eyelids are fluttering, and then she realizes. Then it comes like she realizes where she is, and then her eyes. Do you have her? Do you have her? What's the word I'm looking for? Gagged, or just tied up?
I would say gagged. We don't want her waking up casting spells.
Well,
Okay.
if her,
I mean, we
if,
double, triple bound her.
if
Right?
her
Well-
hands, if her hands are tied behind her back and all of her items have been removed from her, I mean,
They have.
this coming from someone who knows jack about magic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Magic's not
I
magic.
would have thought about gagging her because we're supposed to be asking her questions. That seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
All right. So she's laying on the ground and she looks frightened and she's looking at you guys, especially Arendar, who is, and you could see her sort of like, well, she can't go down, but she's sort of like, you could see her sort of kind of like flex her stomach muscles a little bit around where the falcata that
Heaven
knocked her
door?
unconscious hit. Yeah. Now it's sealed up.
Mm-hmm.
But she's, hold on a second, let me do this. It's
I'm in
sealed
view,
up.
I'm in view of her, but I'm not close to her
Hold on, I gotta
because
do that.
because we're doing the good cop thing first. So, and Titus
Yeah.
rolled a 25 diplomacy trying to
Okay.
play good cop.
So she is definitely tied up. So yeah, you could see her sort of flexing. She hasn't said anything yet. Titus, you roll a 25 diplomacy check. What do you say?
Actually,
to her?
that should have been 29. I didn't have diplomacy updated with.
Gotcha.
Zero,
Okay.
but-
So 29, that's pretty good. What do you say to her?
I say, good evening, lady. I hope we haven't hurt you too much. As you can see, we've already applied first aid, and you're on your way to healing. And we'd like to continue on the good streak. Are you willing to talk to us?
You see her hesitate a moment, and then she nods her head vigorously. But she looks over at you, and she can't. She's like, and you can see her, and she's making these motions like she brings her hand. So she's tied up, so she brings her hand sort of toward her throat, and you can see her kind of going.
So you
Oh my
can't
gosh.
speak. You what? Use sign language? What?
Three
The ring.
ring.
No, the ring is of dimension door. So that's her get out of jail free card. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No. We confirmed that ring is dimension door, right?
Yeah.
Or was it dementia?
Dementia door, which is a whole different spell.
Yeah, dementia's door. You sit around
Easier
confused.
spell. You get it with age.
Yeah, you start to talk about how cool things used to be back in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah.
Oh, like less.
Well,
I have that ring. So
try
yeah, she
again.
keeps
She's
she
already
keeps
trying to lie.
she keeps sort of like going, I need the ring to speak, is what she's trying to say.
Yeah. No, I got what she's trying to say, but she's lying because we know what the ring is.
Can you write? We're not giving you the ring yet. We don't know you. We don't trust you yet.
I'm not. And Aragon will say this. I'm not
she's-
untying her. She's
Well,
pretty
if she can
good.
gesture, she can write.
She's deadly with those things.
Well, I'm wondering if I cast comprehend languages, gestures are a language, are they not?
Well, she's not doing sign language. It's more sort of like this pigeon sort of like draw a map in the dirt with a stick kind of stuff. You can see she's
playing
pointing.
charades.
She's pointing, yeah, basically. She's pointing to the ring and says that it has, I mean, the impression you get is that it has, she's saying, I can't speak unless I have the ring on. At which Wraith is like, that's bullshit. We know that bullshit. And then you're like, can you
Oh.
write? And she's like, yes, I absolutely can write. She's Yeah, if you have something to write with, she could do that. She definitely is nodding vigorously, that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
she's looking at Wraith and she's like, she's,
If I
Put some
cast
paper.
message, can I communicate with her?
Actually, that's a good idea.
that
Yeah.
is a
Great idea.
great idea. I have to check. So hold on, maybe
Because it's telepathic.
does it have it's not telepathy, so you can't read her minds. You can
No,
whisper.
but she can whisper
No.
through her mind to him.
Yeah.
She
You
doesn't
can
have to
target.
physically speak it.
So you point at each figure you want to receive a message. When you whisper, the whispered message is heard by all the targeted creatures. The message just happened to can circumvent. The creature that receives the message can whisper a reply that you hear. It transmits sound, not meaning. It doesn't transcend language barriers. To speak a message, you just mouth the words and whisper them. So yeah, I mean, you could.
All right, I'll cast
that.
message and I will include everyone except Ono because we don't want to wake him.
He's got to get his beauty sleep.
All right. What do you say to her?
I say, okay, I hope we can have a nice conversation now.
So ask her what she was doing, who she works for, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I want to make sure we can talk and then I'll get into the good stuff.
Okay. What languages do you speak?
Oh, I knew you were going to play this game with me.
Because she speaks in a non-common language.
I
And that
will
it's not common.
I will also cast comprehend languages.
All right. So she's speaking in Elvish, but it's not. So I think you speak Elf, don't you?
Celestial, Common, Draconic, and Sylvan.
Okay. So you don't speak Elf, although Sylvan is related to Elvish. So this is Elvish, but it's not High Elvish and it's not Wood Elvish. It's a different kind of elf. Now you suspect that her green eyes, blonde hair, and that kind of stuff would normally indicate that she is probably a wood elf. But certainly you're guessing also that she's probably at least a partial elf, a half elf or something like that. But she's speaking a tongue of Elvish that initially, even if you spoke elf, you might have problem understanding because it seems quite archaic. But she's saying, look, she's saying to her, look, obviously you must be Titus. I was told of you. I was told to come here and to bring Lord Balan back to my employers. There was, I really had no question about it.
And who are your employers, did you say?
My employers are some of the so I was dealing with a half orc by the name of Jaas, who hired me to do this job. Now his employers I don't know, although I have seen him in the company of Sargovans on many occasions, so it's possible that he is an employee of the Sargovans. But I was told to come here and to bring Balan to him, and with any means necessary. I use the skills that I have. I cannot speak in the normal fashion without wearing the ring. And I know that your friend Wraith has determined, or that you have determined, that it is a ring of dimension door, which it is, but it also has a secondary magic that precludes me from speaking. It was a gift from a former employer who was very much enamored with the idea of secrecy and brooked none of his employees would ever speak about his business. While he gave me the ring so that I might escape from precarious situations, it also I'm also unable because of the magic of the ring to speak without wearing it.
Well, I hope you understand, until we know you better and trust you, we'll have to preserve the ring in our good care. Should you earn it back, we'll have it. But until you've earned our trust, which will.
Okay. So she
happens.
works for the guy we're trying to find anyway. I'm
Yeah.
not saying this in front of this, or at least I'm pulling people back aside so she can't hear.
Okay.
And yeah, so this is the guy we're trying to get to, the guy that I'm supposed to go meet. This is the guy we think took the box from the halflings.
His name keeps popping up. Half orc
That-
named Jaas.
That may or may not have contained poison to poison the king's family.
And if you do speak Elvish as a language,
Mhm.
are you able to understand her? Is it basically like English and Irish? They have such an accent, it makes it hard.
Kind of, yeah. And if you're listening in, basically she uses a lot of strangely archaic words and phrasing for Elvish. Modern Elvish is a streamlined language, but it would be like, I guess the rough equivalent would be less about Irish and English and more about poet and businessman, I guess.
Okay.
So businessman's Elvish is different from poetic Elvish.
So
Give me a quick perception check, Chuck, or anybody with Elvish who speaks Elvish and is listening into this.
20.
20. Arendar, not so much, but Chuck, Wraith feels like that this is you wouldn't necessarily catch this unless you were a native Elvish speaker, but you feel like that she's using this style of Elvish purposely to sort of be obfuscatory.
No.
Poe, you get the
Hey,
same
what does
thing.
that word mean?
It's the quality of obfuscation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she's speaking in 15-year-old poetry from middle school.
Well, what she's doing is she's hoping that you guys aren't necessarily Elvish speakers in the
Right.
So she's trying. I mean, Wraith, you suspect this. Poe, you suspect it even more. Arendar, you're like, well, it could be that she just comes from a weird town. But yeah, you suspect that she's using odd words in Elvish to try and sort of mislead's too strong a word. More like pretend to be.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, sort of smoke and mirrors, kind of a little bit.
Well,
She's using words like obfuscatory.
oh,
So-
I have to smack her around for that.
If you want to tell me that, then yeah, Arendar's pretty much all ready to go.
Uh,
His brand.
ma'am, I love your your poetic sense, but something tells me you could speak a little more clearly, maybe even common or at least normal Elven. If you continue to speak in such a Shakespearean manner, we're not going to communicate well, and you will never earn our trust.
She continues to speak the same language and basically I'm sorry, this is the language I know. I speak some common but very poor.
Well,
I'm very
that's
poorly.
fine. I'm good at understanding poor common. Look who I hang out with.
Okay. So then she becomes. She's like, if you, she says again in Elvish, if you require me to speak common, I will. I'm at your mercy, essentially. If you force me to speak common, I will do my best. But I worry that you seem to have no problem understanding my language. So I worry that my poor grasp of the common tongue of Taldan, which she refers to as Taldan, my poor grasp of Taldan will be less. You will find me less helpful.
Where are you from, and who speaks like that?
I am so. So she says, I am from the lands east of so she says, so from your eyes, she goes, I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm from the northeast, from a land east of Kadira. I grew up in the deserts and steppes to the east of Kadira, and I spent a great deal of time in the Kadiran capital of oh fuck,
I hadn't heard that place.
I think it's Kathir. Kadira is Kathir. Yeah, the capital is Kathir. So she says, I grew up, I was born in the wastes east of Kadira, but I made my way to the capital and I spent many years in Kathir, and had subsequently come to this land because I had heard that there were many of my kinsmen lived here on these steppes, these plains, and so I came here to seek them out and to seek out adventure.
Let's come to a compromise. I want you to try to speak in common. If you feel like you're going to have trouble expressing a thought, you may revert to Elvish and try to get us to understand that.
All right.
Short of that, I want you to speak in common so that all my common rads can also understand.
Okay, I can do that. And she says that in comment. She's like, I will try to speak common good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Friends, do you have any questions?
Other than what if you guys tell me that she's purposely trying to mislead us a bit,
I think somebody sensed
to-
that.
find out anything else she knows, and I'm okay with going to threats, and she's being too helpful for someone who works for, is it Jace? What's the guy's name?
Joss, yeah.
Joss.
He's Hawaiian. You got to pronounce all the vowels.
Right. Joss.
Joss, yeah, Joss, that kind of thing.
And you know what? I'm okay with telling her if she's from around here, she knows how crazy the Talons are going these days. I'm okay with just telling her, okay, we're just going to turn you over to the Talons and say that you work with someone that we suspect is involved with the King's murder. And if she's from around here, she'll know exactly what that means to her.
She immediately abandons common at this point. She's like, "What are you talking about? I have done nothing of the sort. I have no connection with that. In fact, I'm a great what does she say? Like a fan of King Steppenguard. I think he is one of the finest dwarven kings that has ever sat on the throne of the Bandu Hills. From what I understand, he is both loyal to his people and just amongst things. To implicate me in this way would be a terrible misgiving of justice. And I understand that you probably see me as a malefactor at
I was going to say,
best.
if she says that, you pretty see me, then Arendar will interrupt her, come towards her with his Valkata out. It's like, I see you as someone who broke into here, beat this guy senseless, and for all we know, was going to murder, rob him, or both. I don't see you as anyone that can be trusted.
She seems like she's getting ready to retort because you can see her eyes just like, and then she settles back down and she says, "I suppose that's correct. I have offended you, obviously. It offended Lord Balan over here. What I can tell you is that my only intention was to bring Balan back to my employer. That is all. I was performing a job. I had hoped that Lord Balan would be more forthcoming, but I was required. He resisted, and I was forced to defend myself. Balan's like, "The fuck you say? I was sleeping."
Yeah, so Ilndar comes at her when she says that, because
Okay.
he said that he wasn't forthwith coming because he knew he had said that I just woke up to being pummeled. And
he's like, you could hear him through a nose full of blood. He's like, "I was sleeping, for Pete's sake," that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's getting that Falcata blade really close to her as he's yelling at her and roll the 26 intimidation check.
All right.
If you don't stop lying, I'm going to take over this interrogation and I'm going to have everyone else except for me and you leave this room.
All right. So
I look at her and say, I can only do so much to stop him. I'm trying to be your friend and your ally, but I look at him. I can only stop him so much.
okay. All right. What did you roll to intimidate?
26.
26. All right. Let me roll here. How do I hide these rolls?
Can't see him.
Here we go. All right. I'm going to roll hers. I'm going to start hiding rolls from you guys. Do you guys see that?
Nope.
Excellent. All right. So she begins to shake a little bit, and you could see a single tear going down her face.
Code name cheat.
All right, I'll turn it off. I don't know. Will it show? It was a 16. So in this case, with the intimidate rules that we use,
She failed by 10 or more.
She failed by 10 or more, which means that she is panicked for one round and frightened for D4 rounds and shaken thereafter. So So you can see her shaking and crying, and you see her sort of trying to sort of I mean, you got her sitting up or
Right.
standing up or anything like
Sitting
that.
up, but I'm right in front of her with the blade out, and I'm like, the only chance you've got is to tell us the truth right now.
And she says, "I have to tell you the truth. All right, all right. I was told to use any means necessary to bring Balan to my employer, but and I thought that, you know, frankly, subduing him quickly would be the best way." She says, I'm sorry, Lord Balan. I didn't mean to injure you grievously. I just meant for you to take you away from here. That's all.
Where are you supposed to be meeting your boss?
I'm supposed to meet him in a couple hours at shit, I lost it. The Velvet Rose Pub. That's where he hangs out. That's where he usually conducts all his business there.
How do I get to him?
I don't know. What do you mean? Get to him? What I mean,
What does he look like?
oh, he's a half orc.
See that.
He looks largely like half orcs do. Skin of a greenish tone. His dark eyes. He has a single fang that comes out. Or I might be lying about the single fang. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta check. He's quite. Hold on a sec. He does not have a single fang. He favors, frankly, he's a half orc. He favors his human parentage. So many of other than skin of green and dark eyes and dark hair, he has very few traditionally orcish features. He's a I don't know how else to explain. He typically wears browns and greens. I don't know. What else can I tell you?
You knew who we were. Does he know who we are?
Yes, he briefed me on each of you.
So
he told me Lord Balan was the target, but that I was to avoid any for obvious reasons. I was to avoid interacting or speaking with any of you. But he also both had your names, descriptions, and in some cases what you were best at. She looks at Wraith. Wraith, and she's speaking in Elvish again. Wraith, he knows that you are an archer of note, and Arendar, he knew that you swung a falcata, a weapon alien to our people. She sees the Elvish blood within you.
Okay, so your life depends on getting me to talk to him without him, or getting me to him without him knowing. So how do I do that?
I don't know how I would do such a thing without the ability to speak. I don't know that I would be able to even get past the guards at the door of the Rose. You know, it has a lovely name, but the fact is that the Velvet Rose is a bar of ill repute.
Is there a password?
None that I am aware of. I was only
How
able
do you
to.
know when you speak?
I was able to go there because I was invited there at Jaas's behest, and they knew that I was coming and allowed me inside.
What's a bar of ill repute?
Well, I couldn't think of the right term, but it's basically a bucket of blood type place.
Oda was being the naive 19-year-old. Huh? Wait, what? A bar of ill repute? Wait, what?
Yeah, imagine the movie Roadhouse. That would.
Right.
All right. Well, you guys chew on that. I'm gonna reload my Generita. That actually was quite good. I'll be right back.
Good deal.
Okay. So
Go
You're
ahead.
muted, Jen, if you were
Yeah.
trying to say something.
Generita. I just have never heard of
Oh.
such a thing. It sounds horrible. Sorry.
He seems to like it.
he likes it. So, we're supposed to meet this guy, but I was supposed to act as I used to work with him, but now after hearing her, that wouldn't have worked because he knows us all very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would have been walking right into a trap. We still want to talk to him, but if we go waltzing in there, he knows all of us.
Right.
He's going to know something went south.
Does he know?
Well, I
Odo?
could cast invisibility on someone. Or someone's.
The thing that gets me is she freaked out, was saying she supports the king, but she's working with Jayas, who we suspect is the one that poisoned him.
Right.
Poisoned his family.
Right.
You guys talking
So
about me?
in many
Yeah.
ways, it may be that she's a dupe in all this, and she
Yeah.
doesn't really know how far this goes or what this guy's been up to. It's possible she's just a soldier, but I mean, early on, she was attempting to lie 9 ways from Sunday. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
you
she's
have
a-
to, huh?
She's a liar. I mean, I just don't trust her at all.
No.
She's a liar, a braggart, and a cheating fool.
I'm all for turning her into the one Talon guy that we know.
Well, and we now know that the meet was supposed to happen
In a couple hours, essentially.
Couple hours.
in a couple hours at this bar. Do
So in
any
a
of
couple
the
hours, he's going to know this didn't happen.
well, do any of the magic people that we have the ability to cast a spell to make one person look like another?
Sure. Disguise.
Because we could have our diplomat and someone that looks like this girl waltz in the front door at the appropriate time.
Balan's like, wait a minute. I just got a broken nose. I don't want to go on some hunt. I need my sleep. We're talking to the king tomorrow.
Hmm.
You can do it. And he's like, so Balan sort of steps in. He's like, look, I need to get some sleep. We have an audience. We all have an audience with King Bresk tomorrow, and an audience that could easily go awry. And I'm going to need your guys' help. We already have some cards stacked against us. Now, I get that she's a problem, but we have bigger fish to fry. Do we really want to go on a half orc hunt tonight?
Well, yeah.
Tonight
He's-
is when it
further.
represents itself. And
Yeah.
you were sleeping soundly, trying to get your good night's sleep when that woman started beating you in the face.
Totally get that.
So
However,
what's to say in a couple hours when she doesn't show up at the bar, somebody else shows up and maybe they're more successful.
he's like, look, I don't want to go. I have to mentally prepare.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know how magic works. Maybe we can make another of us look like you and one of us look like her and try to do this
I
and
can
leave,
only disguise myself.
and leave you out of it. But
Oh,
I
so he
don't,
can disguise himself, so we can't do two people.
yeah, I don't think that's going to be able to work.
None of you are. So Balan is. How do I put this? A little portly.
Yes.
Corpulent?
None. Well, corpulence wise, sort of like. I mean, he's not huge. But he's certainly a comfortable sort of fellow.
Let me ask her, how are you going to get this large man unconscious to where
Right.
you needed to go?
And she says to you again in Elvish. She says, once I got him onto the street, I was going to, once I got him out of here, I was going to wake him back up again and walk him through. Once I had him, in my power.
And you just thought he'd just go after getting his face beat in by you.
Why wouldn't he?
And out,
Why
and out in
would he?
public.
Why would he risk another face beating?
In public?
It's the middle of the night in Bresk. Sometimes things happen. But yeah, but I was told. So basically, just look. I was told that once I had secured his person, his compliance would be largely forthcoming. You hear Balan in the background going, "That's fair. I'm not a fighter."
Well,
So can anyone get into this bar?
Odo could go in there and
I can make someone invisible and I can disguise myself.
So
So
she'll
I
tell
can
you.
get-
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
So yeah, I can get myself in probably with diplomacy and disguise. I can sneak someone in with invisibility, but I don't see how we take two people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do they allow anyone in that we could kind of, not so much a disguise, just kind of cover our faces a bit just to get in?
They are expecting me tonight, so that you would be if I came with you, you would be able to get in.
That's fun.
That said, it's usually she's like, look, I've only been there a handful of times, and always at the behest of Jas. It's too strong to call it a private club, but in many ways, it's a private club. You have to be a known face or with somebody who's known there.
So what if we take her? I disguise myself as ambassador dude, and somebody goes invisible.
The problem is I won't be without my ring. I won't be able to speak to the. I won't be able
You
to
don't
speak
need to. I'll speak for all of us.
as the invisible guy.
No,
Hi,
I won't.
I
I will
s-
be disguised as the ambassador.
He'd
Her-
be
who's
disguised.
I
supposed to be
say you
her-
let him in.
Yeah, exactly.
I say we let him go.
First
So
we hang him,
here's the
then we
thing.
tattoo him.
We can't do our normal tactic here. We can't go in just a blazing because we can't, especially before we meet with the king, we can't be
It's a-
seen in the middle of a fight somewhere.
It's a hive of scum and villainy.
So I have communicate going and disguise and invisibility. And we have less going, I say you let him go.
So our
I think it'll work.
options are to do that, which
It's
I
an
don't-
option.
I think it's a horrible option just because you've got her going there
She
and
can't speak. Or so
She's-
she says.
No,
Without the ring,
Right.
she can't speak. It's a relic from a previous employer who was she tells you was crazy about security.
Well, that's what she says, but her
I don't
believability
trust anything she says.
is fairly zero.
Yeah. So I know she's deadly without a weapon. So
Yeah.
we let her go on her own to get in there. She's gonna look funny walking in, with her legs and hands tied. So that doesn't work.
Right.
I don't know. I've
No,
gotten in a lot of bars
she-
with women who
She
were
always
tied
travels
up.
like this. So
I
that's
kinda
not
like-
gonna work, but you let her, on her own, pinky swear, I'm gonna not attack you and not give you away.
No,
Yeah.
we take her tied up, and the ambassador guy goes, I believe you were looking for me. I brought you something.
That would be hilarious, actually. Him to carry her in there tied up and say,
Yeah,
next time you want to talk to me, send someone that's competent.
exactly.
That's so unobtrusive when you're trying to get into a club with a woman who's tied up.
Have
I'm
Nobody-
just trying
nobody-
to
Nobody ever notices that.
Yeah.
not in one of those kind of places.
I don't know. I've kind of
I kind of like that approach, quite honestly.
I brought you something.
Message for you, sir.
What's the cover charge here? Here, take this. Will you take a trade? But yeah, no, it's Largest says, she says, look, I can get you in. And Titus, I'm assuming that you're not saying these kinds of things in front of her. You're using message judiciously.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So she doesn't know what you guys are talking about how to get in, but she might have some ideas. Maybe she's willing to get you guys in. The problem is she basically says, I cannot speak. It's not like I can go up to the bouncer and do head motions. I got to be able to speak to him. And for that, I need the ring.
So wait a minute. So the ring works like we figured out it works like so many times a day, right?
No, I want to say there was several charges on it.
4 charges.
Dang it.
I
I want to
believe
keep
is
that
what
for
it
us to be able to use, but if it was a once per day kind of thing, I'd say, okay, let's go ahead and just grab the ring, use it, so it's expended for the day, and then here, now you've got an empty ring that might only do what you say it does.
You could use up the charges and render it inert.
I mean, it's a second level cleric spell. I could learn it too.
What's that?
Not from a ring. Oh, it's
Zone-
cleric spell.
It's a cleric spell. Yeah, I mean, I can just pray for it if we wanted it that way.
Dimension door.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Zone of Truth. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's a ring of dimension door.
Oh,
Then it's, I don't think, no, it's not a second level spell, is it?
No, it's like a third or fourth level spell.
It is a 4th level wizard
Arcane
spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about Zone of Truth. I got confused.
Oh, I gotcha.
So, like I said, that would be really useful for one of us to have going forward. I don't want
She-
to waste that magic item just in case she's telling the truth and she needs it just to speak.
That she has not, so to I mean to that, she has not spoken audibly this entire time, not since you guys removed the ring. So I don't know if that's well, frankly, she didn't speak audibly before you removed the ring either. So I mean, it could be anything. But yeah, she is definitely saying that because of the magic of the ring, she cannot speak, and it's because of this former employer. She acknowledges that that she's like, I can get you in there, and I'm willing to go along with the ruse to save my own skin, but I need the ring. I can't sign language. I can't rebus our way into the Velvet Rose.
So is he your only employer?
He's my employer in this, yeah.
How many employers do you have?
Well, I work for several different people in various kind of capacities.
Because
Some-
as soon as you go behind this guy's going to be trying to kill you.
Well, and she sort of smiles a little bit and she says, well, I'm assuming that essentially what is going to happen is that I'm going to be trading places with Jaas with you guys, and that you guys will let me go, and you will extract whatever information you need from Jaas directly, as opposed to me, and I can return to my employers, and hopefully none of this gets out. That's what she says she's thinking is, look, if I bring you to Jaas, you're going to, essentially the argument is, I'm little fish. If you get a bigger fish, you're going to throw me back, and I can make the case that I had nothing to do with what happened, even though it might happen in things, or I was, I was under duress, or I was tricked, or you took me by surprise, or I had nothing to do with it. There's 1,000 excuses she can make to explain away the fact that she would bring you to the Velvet Rose and introduce you to Jaas. After that, once you have him, she's counting on the idea that she's not a big deal to you guys anymore, and that she can take off. That's the sort of deal that she's proposing, essentially, is that, look, I'll take you to my employer, but ultimately you guys don't kill me and you give me back my pants. But she's basically says, look, I need to do this for you. I need my ring and I need my shurikens. You can have the potions, you can have the boots. That's, spoils of war. And I recognize that. But I need my ring to speak, and my shurikens are the tools of my trade. I need them. And do we identify the potions too?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got everything. And you know that the boots are as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Dark Vision, Mage Armor, and Magic Fang.
Mhm.
Masterwork Shurikens, Boots of Striding and Springing, and a Ring of Dimension Door, 4 charges.
Yep.
We found no magic on them that suggested anything about being able to speak.
No, but it could be subtle. I mean,
Does she have to wear it on her finger? What if we put it
Can we
on
have
a string?
Vondrum? Is Vondrum any good at doing spellcraft and figuring magic items out?
Fair. Yeah, fair.
give me a quick knowledge arcana, Vondrum,
Spellcraft.
or spellcraft. No, well,
Okay.
the knowledge arcana first.
Knowledge Arcana first. Okay.
I can aid.
Okay. So what's that do with the?
I thought we didn't identify.
We did.
It didn't show anything about any speech prohibitions. All right. Vondram 19 and a 20 for aid, so 21. So Vondram, you have heard of specialty magic that, I mean, you've heard of things that could work in this way, right? It's not unheard of to have magic items that do specific things to specific people, that prohibit things, that kind of stuff. It's a type of magic. It's rare, but it does occur. Who
Can
do
we tell if this ring has that
Titus did the identify.
and didn't detect it?
Vond
need it.
and did not detect it. Vondram, to your eyes, identify. Well, Titus is a powerful sorcerer, and you're a mage of note as yourself.
How about spellcraft? Because I have a higher spellcraft.
Spellcraft would
Do a
be
spellcraft.
used to identify it. Yeah.
Ooh, 31.
Crap.
Yeah, you don't detect anything but dimension door on this ring.
Liar.
Maybe it's cursed. Maybe it's hidden. There are ways to hide magic.
I don't understand. Why would you hide that kind of magic? What's the point of hiding that kind of magic?
And you
Because
just
I guess
detect,
you wanna
and
keep
you
her
detect
bound.
magic.
What was that, Andrew?
If you want to keep her bound, you want to hide the way you're doing it. Because there'd be a reason for obscuring it.
I just don't. I think she's still lying about the whole thing.
Yeah, she doesn't has little.
She wants the
tricks.
ring because she wants the dimension door. So as soon as she gets it on her finger,
Yeah.
she's not going to get us in there. She's going to hit the road because she can.
Do we have a hold portal that we want to hold? I don't have
Like
that.
paralyze her somehow?
No. The one where you stop dimension door, where people can't jump. I can't think of
Oh,
it.
an anchor?
That's a
Yeah,
high level.
If you were a higher
spell.
level,
yeah, we don't want to waste it on this.
no.
No,
I
we don't
mean,
have it.
what if we just proceed the way we were before we met this chick? I mean, we know now at least that we can't go in pretending to be something we're not.
Dimension
we-
door only
Right.
has a verbal component too. The spell. It's fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with her lying like this, or at least as far as I can tell, she's still lying. I just want to get rid of her.
Me too. I don't like liars. I don't.
Oh no.
like liars.
Oh no. Oh
Ono's
no.
in
Where are
bed.
you?
Ono's in bed getting his beauty sleep.
No, he's in the hallway now.
We need some sort of alert that I can oh no, we need some sort of alert that I can alert you to dubious activities on the part of your
Can we put a bell on
uh,
his collar?
yeah, like something like
Ono's
there we
like,
go. That's what we're gonna that's the
I
Ono
went to bed and I
alert.
woke up with a bell on me.
I'm, as soon as that started turning shady, I'm just gonna go for a stroll.
The Ono alert has signed.
Um,
Don't tell
like I said,
me.
I am nervous about the fact that if we go there, there's a decent chance, if not guaranteed, there's going to be a scuffle. And we don't need that to get back to the king the day before we're going in front of the king.
Well, it's kind of late at night, so it's after midnight. And you guys are scheduled to speak in front of the king at like 10:30 the next morning. Balan is like, "Hey, this has all been well and good, and my nose isn't broken anymore, but I'm covered in blood, and I'd really sort of like to clean myself up and get back to sleep. Can you guys take this out into the lounge?
Oh,
And plus, if you guys are going to murder her, I would prefer you not murder her in my room."
oh,
Blah, blah.
that's the thing he's saying out loud so she can hear that.
Yeah.
At which stage, Ilnor will gladly walk over to her and, okay, we're leaving.
All right, you guys
Pick her up
just
and
grabbing her out and taking her out of the room.
escort her out of the room.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, says Balan as you guys are departing. All right. Where are you going to take her into, like the main room by the fire, or into the bathtub room, or what? Like right over here into the fire room. You plant her in one of these chairs, or just next to the fire kind of thing, like right there.
No, at this stage, Herondar would be saying something along the lines of, well, the bathtub room would be easier to clean up. So there.
Okay. She's in the bathtub room.
He's still trying to freak her out.
She seems freaked out.
Good. She should be. But she keeps lying to us. So what do you guys think? There's no way she's going there with us. Because she won't go there without a ring, and as soon as she gets that ring on, she's gonna dimension door somewhere that
Well, she keeps making the case that she can't speak without the ring because of her previous employer who was so security conscious and gave her this ring and that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
I'm gonna say we've got two very accomplished
You got two
arcane mages
who
that
can't.
neither one of them see anything about this. So sorry, you're lying to me.
I'm not lying. Yeah, his magic is very subtle. He was a high level magic. He's a high level magic user.
Yeah, sure. So am I.
He's a wizard of note, a Kadiran wizard of note.
We just keep her tied up and take her to the king and tell him what's going on. And use her as proof that, you know, this half orc could possibly be the person who killed his family.
Well,
I mean,
don't want to. She's working with the guy who. Well, see, we can't say we suspect this guy. Although, if the Inquisitors have talked to the halflings already, they already know this guy's name. See, I wish our buddy would show up and let me know what they know.
Well, it's only been like a day and a half, so
Yeah.
Just turn her over to the Talon we know.
That's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Hrelk, Sergeant Hrelk.
Yeah. Tell him
Well, see-
exactly what happened.
He at least seems honest.
Yep.
If there are Talon hit squads out there, he's obviously not running them because he was aghast at the idea.
Right.
So he's an honest policeman turned Talon guard, whatever.
Well,
And
he's been
loyal.
he's been a
loyal to
Bresk
the king.
constable for like closing in on 20 years.
Yeah,
Right.
and he's loyal to the king.
Right.
We can say this little assassin was sent in the middle of the night to try and take our diplomat the night before he was supposed to talk to the king.
Yep.
Well,
And she can't tell us the truth to save her life. So
I mean, so these connections sort of start getting put together, right? So why is if what she's saying is true about Jaas, why is Jaas, who you guys suspect might be at the very least an intermediary and maybe directly influential on the assassination of the bulk of the king's family, and certainly a Sargavan agent? Why would the if he is a Sargavan agent, why did the Sargavans want to get a hold of Balan before he talks to the king?
Because we have like zero chance without the diplomat. He's just stacking the deck in his favor.
It could be.
Anybody speaking on behalf of the sequence is silenced or nullified.
If there's
And
nobody
then-
to speak on behalf of Sequin, then the argument against them is default.
Yeah, then the people who are speaking against Sequin and for the Sargavans are guaranteed.
It makes sense. It all hooks together.
Just on the off chance, I just want to run a perception check on her.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I just want to
Damn.
see if she's being honest.
Oh, then that would be more like a sense motive check rather than a perception.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as far as you could tell, you think this ring thing might be for real.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yes, Wraith, you are a dubious sort, but she's starting to. I don't know. You're like, well, she's a half elf. I'm a half elf. You know, maybe there's something here. I don't know.
She's got blue eyes.
Just asking questions. Yeah, green eyed girl. You know, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there.
My sense motive ain't that great.
Yeah, that didn't work either. So, yeah, I mean, you can't tell, frankly. You suspect, and both of you kind of suspect that. I mean, you're not like, you both suspect that she might be lying, but you can't tell for sure.
Does anyone else have good sense motive?
I think everyone's a liar.
I don't think so. Let me check.
You're seldom disappointed if you believe it.
Oh yeah, you're still well, frankly, you're dubious about the whole situation. This whole thing about the ring and can't talk and working for us. Everything in this thing smells of falsehood to you.
Yeah.
Arendar, you're thinking, well, she's a half elf, I'm a half elf. She had certainly pretty eyes and that kind of thing. Maybe she's telling the truth. And you guys, you and Wraith are sort of looking at each other and looking at her and like, hey, wait a minute, you thought the same thing? You can't tell realistically. I mean, everybody's very suspicious, but she hasn't said anything that you can detect that you can verify as being an absolute falsehood. You're very suspicious about, especially since both Titus and Vondrum have both said, yeah, we don't detect anything on here. You've put some fairly strong magic. Titus cast Identify, and that's strong magic. Theoretically, that should have sussed out anything on that ring, and he didn't see anything along the lines of some sort of muting ability. Neither did Vondrum, and she was aided by Poe, who has connections to the Fey realm. And the power of that primal magic that exists there. And you guys didn't detect anything either. The only thing that gives you pause, Vondrum, is the fact that you have heard of things like this before, but you've never heard of them violating the laws of detection magic, sorry, in the past. You suppose it's possible. Anything's possible with magic, but it's unrealistic.
I just think this girl's out for her own well-being. She works for whoever, whenever, to do whatever. She has no scruples, no morals. I trust her not at all.
Well, the fact that it's a ring of Dimension Door also adds a little bit of problematicness to it.
Yeah, I have no interest in working with her if we can find any other way.
On the other hand, if you don't accept her assistance in the way that she describes that assistance, the likelihood of you guys getting into the Velvet Rose and getting a look at, or even a chance to talk to this Joss, let alone put the grab on him, maybe, is slim. At least tonight.
We can still dress ourselves up to look like her. We can still disguise self to look like her, and just.
I don't know that we even need to talk to this guy now. Especially now that we have her and we can, tell the king and tell the enforcement people in this region that what's going on. That was the whole point that we wanted to do, was show that there was some kind of valid
conspiracy.
Connection. Yeah, conspiracy going on, which is related to the Sargavans. I mean, do we need to talk to this guy? I mean, us going there and risking who knows what is maybe not the best idea. Right.
So is there any downside? Is that going to trigger anything if she doesn't show with the prisoner in a couple hours?
Well, they'll know we got involved, because they'll know there's no way she couldn't have handled what's his name on her own.
Yeah, and they'll know her mission failed.
And
well, here's another tricky bit. The stone that Balan put on the door, the alarm stone, still there.
Yeah.
However she got in here, it wasn't by the door.
Yeah, ask her how she got in.
Her dimension door ring.
Yeah, dimension door.
Yeah, she dimension doored in. I mean, she sort of doesn't say anything, but as you guys say, yeah, dimension door. Obviously, she got a dimension door ring. That's how she got in here. She doesn't deny it, certainly.
Okay.
She doesn't say really anything when you guys ask her that question, because you guys are like, well, she probably dimension doored in. Oh yeah, probably so. And she's like, but yeah, dimension door would have got her in. And it sounds like, I mean, you guys didn't hear her like wandering around in the hallway. She may have dimension door directly into his room.
Don't you have to know where you're going to do that?
Possibly. So the rules of dimension door say that you will always arrive exactly at the spot desired, whether you can visualize the area or stating the direction. So theoretically, if she knew what room he was in, she could be standing outside the inn,
and then just kind of look out the window and say, just inside.
I want to be just inside that window.
Wow.
Do we have any way of getting a hold of Hrelk? Is that right?
Hrelk? The last time you saw him was when you guys entered the city, which would have been yesterday.
I asked him for information on how to get a hold of him, and he asked where we were at and said
He knew that you guys were at the Golden Griffin. So yeah, he said, look, if I find anything out, I'll come to you. Because he's like, I don't know where I'm going to be.
So only one of the risks we're taking too is if we don't do anything, they could come with more manpower and try to basically kill us all or whatever.
Flat out wipe out the day before Balan is. Well, in this case, they definitely seemed like they wanted to take Balan alive.
Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't said that she wanted to kill him. She's told you that she was supposed to basically subdue him, take him out of here, and take him to Jaas at the Velvet Rose tonight in a couple hours. On the other hand, when you guys saw her, she was choking the shit out of him.
Yeah.
and just repeatedly punching him in the face.
Searching of a river Cohen. He's still.
She broke his nose. He's covered in blood. He was knocked practically unconscious.
Yeah, but if she was try to kill him, she would have just taken a knife and slit his throat or something. I mean,
he was sleeping, yeah, and she was
Yeah.
obviously stealthy enough.
Let's just turn her into our friendly constable and move.
We need to, yeah. I don't know how to get a hold of him.
He said he would seek you out. Do you guys want to keep her captive?
Well, there's got to be somebody maintaining the bar downstairs.
It's 24 hours, yeah.
So go down and ask them if they know Captain whatever his name was.
Hrelk.
Or how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, if they know him and how to get a hold of him at this hour.
And if we can't find him, I'm okay with just tracking down the nearest Talon crazies and saying, hey, this guy's trying to talk to the king, and this lady tried to assassinate him ahead of time, so she's probably up to no good. She's probably against the king. You might want to question her about what she
Yeah.
might know about the assassination of the king's family, you know, kind of plant that seed, and then they'll kind of go crazy. And
Well, if you guys can get hold of Hrelk, I mean, he knows the name of Jaas right now, because one of the things that they were going to do was interrogate that halfling.
Right.
Sorry, I said that in very highfalutin. The Hoffling, the Hobbit that you guys captured. So he hears the name again. That's probably going to intrigue him. If you run downstairs real quick and talk to the barmaid, they don't. It's pretty dead in the common room. It's the middle of the night. But she's like, look, I don't know any specific constables, but we can certainly send a messenger to the constables to see if this guy is available. This guy, you say his name's Hrelk?
Tell him it's
Okay.
urgent.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I can certainly do that.
But yeah, I'd say just turn her over to him and
No, she wants money.
okay. I'll give her. Okay, I didn't have my character sheet up, so
What is a common gratuity for this?
I
sort of
don't
thing?
know how much.
I don't know, a couple of silver. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give her a gold.
oh wow. Okay, so she's like,
A
you
gold
right
and
there.
say,
And she-
and
you know,
say this is urgent. I need this guy here as fast as possible. So, and a
okay.
few more gold once he shows up.
Well, so that
stick-
gets her attention. So
So
she
stick with this and make sure it happens as fast as it can.
All right, so she's like, "Oh, good sir," and she goes, "I apologize for being so obvious." She runs in the back, and you see her come out, and she's like, "Look!" And she's got some teenage boy who is obviously sleeping in the back, kind of thing. And she's like, "Look, these lords that are the lords of secret here wish to get a message to the constabulary. They're looking for a Sergeant Hrelk, who is a member of the constabulary. You tell them that Lord Arendar wishes to see him at his earliest opportunity. Is there a message that should go with that, sir?"
It's about one of your investigations and it's urgent.
An urgent message about an investigation. Now, go. And he's like, I'm going already, that kind of thing. And he runs out. So she's like, I will personally see to it that as soon as he returns with the message that it is brought up to you. And if this Sergeant Hrelk shows up here, I will make sure he is conducted to your floor immediately. Will that be satisfactory?
Yes, do
Excellent.
that.
Thank you. That gold piece did not go into the cash register.
Like,
Good night.
what?
All
Oh,
right.
no. Obviously it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, it got pocketed.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sorry, sir. Graft is inconsistent with my programming. Boing.
You better turn it to the other one, but-
All right. So in the meantime, what are you guys going to do with her?
Leave her tied up somewhere.
Keep
Like-
guard over her.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna like switch off and where some people get sleep, some people don't. You're gonna put her in
Yeah.
one of the tubs.
Yeah.
All right, they're not full of water like they show here, but you could get water in them.
Oh,
and,
we can make them like that.
So all right, so she doesn't say anything else unless you guys ask her anything.
No,
Um,
I'm tired of her.
it's like
lying.
she's like, I think you're making a big mistake. I
Oh, of
could
course you did.
I could get you into the Velvet Rose. You could seek out this job. It would be okay.
No,
I know I could do it for you.
no. If you'd been honest in the beginning, we might have taken you up on that, but we can't
I have-
trust you. So
I have told you nothing but the truth. I swear to you by all the gods of the Seldarine and beyond that I have spoken nothing but true words.
I take a step away from her and look up like I'm expecting lightning.
I'm gonna cast Daze on her.
Days? Okay, so she's like, let me do a quick. It's a will save, right?
Yes. Or well, it's at will. Let me see what the save is.
No. The
Yeah, I know. I
Tell her if
Yes,
if you'd
will
agree to do
negate.
this without the ring, we trust you. But
she beat it, I think. She turns her head away as you are like, you are now Days, and she's like, no, I'm not.
damn it.
So who's keeping first watch?
Arendar will. He'll say that with a big smile,
Okay.
just to freak her out even more.
I'm going back to bed.
All right. So you guys split up and do some watches and keep an eye on her. Oh no, I don't know about you, but are you taking any of those watches?
No.
No, Bondrum will though too.
I will as well, but no, Ono will not.
Oh no, could take a watch. Why not?
He'd
Not
let her
by him-
go.
Not by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know that he.
Ono is not going to let her go. He knows that she is an
Assassin.
assassin, so she's evil. It is dangerous to leave somebody tied up for a long time.
That's true.
So I mean, there is a real risk of cruel suffocation.
Well, I think just her hands and feet are tied.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay.
That's why you don't get to stand a watch.
All right. Well,
And Arendar will take a double watch just so the casters can get a full night's sleep and make sure they get their spells back.
Okay.
Ono's not gonna let her go. She is evil. Ono sees this, so he's gonna be firm, solid.
Are we still doing phrasing?
Oh, anyway,
Always
he's
doing
going to be,
He's going to be
well,
firm yet gentle with the prisoner.
he will stand firm. Oh my god.
He will stand firm, straight and narrow.
No, but you have to understand, Ono is a naive 19-year-old. He's as
Yep.
firm as overcooked pasta. Just go back to bed. It'll all be over in the morning.
All right. Where's bed?
All right. So you guys get several hours of sleep until about 4:30, 5 o'clock a.m. It's just dawn is just starting to hint on the horizon out the windows, where it's like that sort of like reddish glow, yellowish glow that sort of appears sort of in the distance, almost like a false dawn. When you hear a very gentle sort of knock at the downstairs door.
Okay, go remove the alarm.
Okay, gently remove the alarm, and outside is Commander Hrelk, Sergeant Hrelk. He's like, I got your message.
Great. It's great to see you.
It's
So
good to
come
see
on
you
in.
too.
Got a present for you.
He comes in. You don't have any breakfast or anything, do you? It's been a long night.
Did anyone escort him up here like the kid?
No,
Or the lady?
not that you saw.
The lady didn't escort him up?
Mm-mm.
You don't want the money?
Yeah, I figured she would have came up and got the money. Because I promised her money whenever he showed up.
I imagine she'll catch you later. But no, she's not with him.
Okay. I said, we'll get you food. I'll get you food.
All right.
But we got a present. So,
Oh no, he thinks. What have you done?
oh, it's not what we did.
Is it a crime? Is it a crime scene?
You'll be proud of us. We did not make it a crime. Well, it's a crime. It's a crime scene, but we didn't make it more of a crime scene.
All right, I guess lead
So-
on.
I'll probably
Takes off his hat and wipes his brow.
If it's morning already, and just
It's-
because I don't
it's
want
like 5 a.m..
everyone, I'd probably just get everyone up and
Okay.
then kind of say, "Why don't you join me in the bathroom?" He's like, "I'm not that kind of." I was like, "No, come
I'm
here."
not that kind of policeman.
Yeah, he's like, "No,
all right.
come here, really."
All right, so he comes in with you, and he immediately sees, and to her credit, the woman in the tub seems to be sleeping. So he's like, I assume there is a story associated with that woman in the tub that you have tied up in her underwear.
Yeah, we do this everywhere we go. No.
When are you going back to Sequin?
As soon as we figure out who killed your king, yeah. So I'll
What have we
basically
got?
start at the beginning. So I was like, so we all came here to sleep. We have all kinds of magic protections. This woman right here ended up in our diplomat's room, beating the holy living crap out of him.
He raises an eyebrow at that.
And I'm sure you still find all the blood and all of his clothes and all that. He's sleeping right now, but so we subdued her, which, like I said, I figured you'd be proud because you've seen we can kill things. That's kind of our thing.
Mm.
Subdued her for answers. She says she's working for Joss, and she was told to come get our diplomat and take him to him last night by any means necessary.
She told you this.
She told us this, all of us this.
So he takes a step back. At first, he seems very intrigued, and then he narrows his eyes, and he's like, "To what extent, I must ask, was she tortured?" And he says, "Look,
None.
I don't suspect you. I don't suspect your dedication here, but in my experience, I have found that if you torture someone, they're likely to admit to any and all sorts of crimes, whether they be true or not."
Yeah, when we were questioning her, we didn't lay a finger on her.
He looks over. He says, "I do see she has some wounds on it. I assume that in that case, that was during the subdual."
Yeah. So basically,
Okay.
I'll recount the entire fight, exactly how it went, what we found, what we saw, what we were doing, what she was trying to do.
Okay.
Point out the fact that I was using most of the time the flat of my blade to try and knock her out until
Until she started to get ugly about
until
it.
she attacked my brother, and then the blade actually.
That explains the cuts.
Then she got the full brunt of the wakata.
Says, let's all of us talk out of earshot. Why don't we go by your fire?
Okay.
So he leads you guys out there and basically says, "Look, we didn't. I observed while our interrogators put the halfling to the question. The fact that she mentions this Joss person as well as the halfling whose story under interrogation largely mirrored what was told to us out in the field, which to me lends it a sense of veracity. In this case, what do you think? Do you think she's telling the truth about this Joss? The fact that this man's name has shown up a couple of times in less than 72 hours.
I think she is
gives me a great deal of pause.
Because she did not know. It's not like we led with, "Are you working for Jaws?" She came up with that name without us saying anything.
You're certain that none among you had mentioned that name in front of her while she was in earshot?
Mm-mm.
Okay. When are you're supposed to see the king this morning, huh?
Yes.
Oh God, we don't have a great deal of time. All right, tell you what. You were right to call me. I will take her into custody. I would require some clothing on her. I can't take her through the streets in her pink laces. But I will put her. I will put her in the constable's dungeon, and I'll keep her there until such time as after you've given your speech. How is Lord Balan? Was he much damaged? Can't be much. He sort of looks over at her. He's like, can't be much.
She broke his nose and was choking the crap out of him.
She did what? He looks at her again. She's 5 foot nothing, a half elf.
I'll say, do not let. I said she could probably take any one of us one-on-one.
I'm shocked and dismayed. All right. Well, I will. All right. Well, we're gonna have to keep her here for a minute. I'm gonna send for some
yeah, I would not.
to some
I'll give her.
assistance.
I'll give her some clothes, whatever. We took pretty much everything off her because we didn't know what she had on her. Found some, shuriken,
Oh,
some other stuff.
really? Let me see
Yeah.
them. Do you mind?
We give him the shuriken.
Okay. He takes a
not
look at him.
making-
He's like, "These are finely made and very rare.
Yeah.
They were almost certainly not created here."
Hmm.
He takes one out of the thing and shoulders you. May I keep this?
Yeah, keep them all if you want.
You can keep the rest. The rules of booty apply in Bresk, as well as anywhere else. But he takes the one. He's like, "This is evidence of potentially a greater scheme." Excuse me for a moment. He drops down the stairs. You can hear him outside, and then very faintly out in the street, you hear a whistle, toot 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 toot, that kind of thing. And then a few minutes later, he returns.
I'll make sure
and with,
when he comes back, I make sure Balan's in the room
okay.
so he can show him whatever.
Why
Lunch
you
still got
guys?
left and-
Why you guys waking me up so early? Has
You
anybody
show him-
ordered coffee or tea or anything like that? Oh, it's gonna
And
be.
and also, yeah, while he's doing that, we'll also get breakfast
Oh
for
my
the
nose is still smarting me.
just so he can ask him and get proof that we're not making all this crap up just to.
Oh, okay. So they talk briefly. He takes him in there. He shows him the clothing that was covered in blood. He shows him the marks on his throat. He's going like, "Well, I'll have to be wearing ruffles today in front of the king." And everybody's like, "Oh, well, I guess you have to." That kind of stuff. So the whistling out in the street basically brought two more constables, obviously very junior to Hrelk. And Hrelk was like, "There's a half-elf woman in a tub in there, and they're going to bring her clothes. I want you to maintain her, make sure that she is bound well, make sure that she unbind her, make sure she gets dressed, be very careful,
Okay,
and then rebind her."
Yeah, I'm gonna be in there while they do that because she's a firecracker.
Okay. He's like, "That's probably smart." So if you go in there, she actually, when she wakes up, she's very cautious. You guys bring her clothes. The constables are like, "Come on now, girl." That kind of stuff. And you'd see this flash of anger, a very brief flash of anger. And you're thinking, man, if she had a knife, it would be plunged in that guy's chest right now. But it's obviously she visibly sort of like, it's like a switch goes to 100 and then it goes back to 50. And she's like, okay, she puts on her clothes. She allows herself very docilely to be tied up again. This time the constables actually have the standard sort of manacles and they manacle her, but they leave her feet undone so that she can walk.
And kick him in the face.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
We don't have any
I'll let them know.
leg irons.
I'll just let them know she is very accomplished at fighting without weapons. So, if you guys let her get the best of you, you will. She's quite trained and quite competent.
Understood. Gentlemen, you know the drill. We don't have any leg irons, so we'll have to be extra careful. You see one guy who has brought a crossbow actually loads and cocks it, and the other one has he's like, "I'll be walking behind you if I see anything. That'll be it." And he actually unsheathes a sort of a dirk, a long dagger that he sort of taps her on the back, sort of right here, and says, "I will not be sheathing this blade until we arrive at the constables." And the sergeant sort of looks on. He's like, "All right, gentlemen, take her downstairs. I'll meet you there momentarily." They stomp out. He's like, "Is there anything else I need to know?" Like I said before, I'll keep her in the dungeons until after you guys thing, and then we can. I won't let anybody near her until we talk again. Sound good?
I think that's it.
I assume we told him about where the half orc is.
Yeah, we'll tell him this is where she said that she was supposed to take him to.
The Velvet Rose. I know that place. It's a shithole.
We did not go just because we're supposed to talk to the king today and didn't want to take the chance of going down there, getting into a scuffle, and then that would look poorly on us.
Understood. It makes sense.
Before
I feel, Balan, I hope that your nose has recovered sufficiently. You're likely to get a bump in it. He's like, "I know. I can't believe it. My whole face is ruined." He's like, "Look, I'll hold her until we talk again."
Okay, appreciate it.
And he departs. And if you look out the window, you can see the four of them sort of trundling off in a westerly direction as the sun is now coming up over the skyline and that kind of stuff. So you have a couple of hours before you need to be at the King's. The lady from the bar shows up. She's like, "My shift is over, and I've come for my reward." Obviously, you mentioned golds.
I give her 2 more.
All right. She clicks them, puts them in. She's like, "My name is Jonas. If you have any questions or need anything else at all, let me know."
Will do.
Jonas with an A. Joanis. Ask for me by name.
Got it.
She's sort of backing down the stairs. That's Jonas with a J. All right. So you've got a couple hours before the thing. Obviously, Balan's like, "Look, I have to prepare. I have to go over my notes."
You should take a bath.
But then yeah, he's like, "I will. I'll send the word down." He's like, "I'm gonna get bathed. I've got special clothes I'm gonna wear." He's like, "If you guys have any good clothes, you should wear them. Obviously, no weapons are allowed in the King's presence. This is court. You will be perfectly safe. You need not worry about anything other. The only thing cutting in the King's court of Bresk is the language. So be prepared for that."
How long have you been holding that one?
I just wrote that, as far as you know. Okay. Question?
I'm gonna ask Balan, can we bring this event up to the king to show that there's other forces working against us?
He sort of leans back. He goes, I've considered this. He says, "Frankly, I don't think we should. We have no direct evidence. To cast aspersions on others, especially sort of vaguely identified others with no real evidence, would only seem to make to hinder our point." Hear me out. I think in this case, if we were trying to, no one in all my discussions, no one has accused Sequin of being complicit in anything remotely related to the death of the king, the assassination of the king's family. Frankly, for us to bring this up in open court, and the king's court, would probably create within the minds of those people that we wish to impress questions that we don't necessarily want them to be entertaining.
Okay.
So I would say no, don't bring it out. But ultimately, he reminds you, as we go into the skill challenge, the DM said innocently, as we go into the skill challenge, one of the things that we probably want to do is make the case eloquently for Sequin rather than against Sargava. We know that the king has already signed a non-aggression pact with them. We already know that that Ambassador Ceramus and the various Sargavan people have already been here. We already know that many of the king's advisors are staunchly not necessarily pro-Sargavan, but certainly anti-Sequin. And I think Lady Naaman represents probably the worst among them, especially with her relationship with Lady Shalosha and the paladin from Sequin, whose name I can never remember. Lorabek. I remembered it. So considering that Lady Naaman has a personal friendship with both of those women, and both of those women were treated poorly by the people of Sequin, that's 2 strikes against us. I think we need to make this about Sequin's. Balan will basically say, "Look, we need to make this about Sequin's," and I've been writing, what my speech is going to be and that kind of stuff. He says, "I think we need to make this about the historically good and profitable relationships that have always existed between Sequin and Bresk and the Bandu. We need to cast the things that have happened to Shalosha and Lorabek as aberrations done by potentially, and we're going to use the word, outside agitators. I think we could reasonably make the case about the Hydromancer being behind much of this.
Yeah. And he was in the pockets of
And he has confessed to being in the pockets of the Sargavans. However, he is not here. So for us to bring that up directly in court like that would be considered to be heresy, and could hurt our case. But we could certainly talk around the idea. that, you know, there was a man who was largely responsible for these things and contributed greatly to the demise of both Lorbeck and Shalosha, and contributed to problems that associated with that, and that we could say that man has been captured. It was captured by these people right here, who have come here today to
offer support.
offer support. Right, exactly. I think we play upon the long history. We play upon the idea that there may have been problems in Sequin, but we've largely resolved them. And let's not bring up Vortbert and what his things are doing.
And then just talk about the history of Gate Pass, how this is how Sargavin, what they're doing right now is what they do with Gate Pass. They started off being our friends. They just started infiltrating, started more and more of them showing up, starting to get into leadership positions. And then all of a sudden they decided to invade. And when they invaded, they were already so entrenched in our own city that we could not defend.
He looks at you, he's like, look, I don't know that I'm in a position to make that case. However, you all are in a position to
We're
make
very
that
much
case.
in a position to make that case.
And I will tell you that Steppengard, one of the reasons, obviously the foremost reason that you accompanied me was for protection. And frankly, I'm glad of it, because you have protected me from more than one issue that could have caused me significant problems, if not my ultimate death. And for that, I am eternally grateful. However, Steppengard also, with you guys being in the courtroom, it is not unheard of for Steppengard to ask you direct questions. He may ask you to state your case in support. In which case you will have to speak with your own words to the king of the dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
That could happen. I've seen it happen before.
All for it.
All right. Now then, I am going to reload my gin and Ginarita. Then we will make our way. We will make our way to the king's court.
Well, all right.
To make the case for Sequin. I'll be right back.
Finally. How many gin and tonics does it take for Les to start handing out relics?
Having
Maybe a couple more.
definitely more than 3.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Ready?
All right.
All right. So later that morning, a coach comes to the Golden Griffin with the king's sigil on it, and there are footmen and livery that call to you and say, "We are come to bring Balan and the entourage from Sequin to the king's court." For and they have a little scroll on it, says, "We have come," and it's all very formal. Balan steps forward and says, "I am Lord Balan, representing Sequin within the king's court, and I am he who you have come to select, pick up." And they're like, "Lord Balan, yes," and and they sort of, there's like this whole thing where they kind of like, check your names off and that kind of stuff. And you get into this coach, and it's very luxurious, and you are taken to the castle and the court. You're escorted in. The castle is, if anything, so remember that that Bresk is largely an inside city. It's largely a giant castle full of courtyards and stuff. The king's domain is in the very center of the city. And the best part of that domain is essentially an internal keep, where you're sort of embedded in the mountain, and there's a large tower and keep. It's enormous, obviously of dwarven manufacture, and you were conducted directly in. You're held in an antechamber for a while, provided refreshments, and then you are escorted into the presence of King Steppengard. You guys see that?
Hmm?
King Steppengard, you're in a huge hall, and King Steppengard is there. And there you have like a footman in livery, basically saying to you, the king is finishing up with some of the earlier business that he's dealing with. You will be talked to next. And you can see a couple of people. You talk to some other functionaries and kind of go through a series of corridors until you are brought into this space. It is a large space, enormous windows bringing light into the cold mountain light is brought in. There are dozens, maybe even 100 or more people in here. Proxies for nobles, assistants, ambassadors of all kinds, servants lingering in the shadows, everybody watching the spectacle. You are brought over to the right side of the room where you're positioned near the entourage of Lady Naaman, who you have seen before. This is the first time you have seen her in person. She is dressed in black and what looks to be sort of morning dress. And then you see several other proxies. You see Balan look over at a couple of proxies that he knows. And he's like, he whispers, "Those are the proxies that I was talking about. That we will be able to meet. Lady Timor's Captain Cauhelo, and Lord Dashkaban's Wolfram. It's possible that we may have an opportunity to meet them at some point later on." You also see the Lord Chancellor, Nina Glibglammer, who is standing in the dock, in the well, as it were, in front of the king, and she seems to be leading the proceedings. Right now, what you see is, you see King Steppengard, and he looks a little worn, frankly. The throne, you see him sitting on a throne. The throne to his right, which you cannot see here, is empty and is shrouded with a black cloth. He still looks tough. His brown beard is a little unkempt. His clothes are a little wrinkled, and he's not wearing his crown. It's actually sitting on the ground next to his throne. It doesn't look like he slept well. His eyes are red. He doesn't see much. In front of him, you see there's a slim man in manacles, and that man is being sort of harangued by Nina Glibglammer. So she leans close to him and says, "Look, you realize the king is offering you a chance to recant, to confess, to admit your role in this tragedy and ask for his mercy. You realize that, don't you? It's no secret that Lord Gallo has." The man interrupts, "Lord Gallo, his family has defended our nation since its birth. You should pay him the respect that he's earned." "Gallo," the woman says, "is the most to gain if the king were killed, doesn't he? He was clearly and this was all clearly an attempt to frame Sargava." She gestures to the audience gathered at the dark edges of the room, to the space opposite to where he's in. You spot a man dressed in rich red Sargavan clothes that have symbols on him. He's guarded by an inquisitor with a heavy cloak, with a bear skull mask etched with runes. "The Sargavans," the gnome says, "who have offered to protect us in this time of war, but no, Gallo is too arrogant to accept that. Gallo has to have his war. Is that not true?" The man starts to reply, but he stammers. He's like, "Well, wait." He stumbles over his words. The woman laughs. "Your lies have begun to confuse even you, you poor man. Please, just answer my questions. Explain to us now how Lord Gallo was involved in this terrible, tragic, and tyrannical attempt to break the back of the mighty kingdom of Bandu." So as you guys are looking at her, a couple of things. Those of you who, I think Titus and Vondram, both of you need to give me a knowledge arcana or a spellcraft check or something like that.
Okay.
Balan, while you're doing this, Balan leans over to you and says, "The man over there is Relder. He was clerk to Lord Gallo's proxy, who's a man named Ginnis." Wow, okay, natural Twunzo. And 23 from Titus. Okay, so both of you, Titus, you have your suspicions, but Vondram, you are absolutely sure that the man in the manacles, this guy who Balan says his name is Relder, and he was clerk to Lord Gallo's proxy, whose name is Ginnis. the guy who's supposed to be in jail for treason, because Lord Gallow's in Gallifend, he's not here. But that's who that guy is. He's a clerk. Vondrum, your natural 20, and to a lesser extent, Titus, your 23. When you saw that guy begin to stammer and have trouble speaking and that kind of stuff, you suspect that that's due to the fact that he is enchanted somehow.
Huh.
Something's wrong there.
Huh.
Maybe some sort of mind control.
I share that with Titus. I whisper that to Titus.
Yeah,
Bella
I
know.
agree with you. Can we let our other
Definitely let Bella know.
Yeah. He's just standing. I'll let everybody know, but just down low.
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Well, that was a nice roll. All right. You do see other so one of the things that you guys see is as you guys are sort of saying, like, this guy might be enchanted, you do see other groups sort of scattered about who are sort of talking, and you suspect that they may be thinking the same thing. There's a pause. Nina Glibglammer sort of looks around. You can see her sort of like look around. She hasn't looked at you guys yet. She seems to be looking around, and she's like, well, she shakes her head and she turns to the throne. She says to the king, Your Majesty, I am convinced that this man has been charmed in some way and his memory has been altered. That would hold on, I'm going to send the link to that. That would explain why he cannot give us the information we seek. He's been charmed to hide these things from us, and he is therefore keeping it from us. His memory must have been altered. I think he's been charmed. This Relder guy just seems to be sort of standing there in his manacles looking around sort of wildly. And finally, King Steppengard sort of leans forward. And he kind of looks, he has a weird look about him. He's kind of a little tortured. Nina, thank you for your service. It worries me that someone could be using such sorcery in the seat of my nation's rule. And though I wish for nothing other than to execute this man for his part in my family's murder, I must also serve justice. Take him back. Take him back.
Justice Day is Don here?
No. It has nothing to do with the paltry excuse for Justice Day that Don did.
Oh my God.
Take him back to the prison until such time as other evidence comes to light. I cannot in good conscience pass any sentence upon him. 3 guards come up. They drag the manacled man away. The gnome woman steps to stand before the king just beside the throne. He says, I tire of trials, King Steppengard says. He waves wearily. I will take the audiences now. And in this case, the heroes can see all of the people who are gathered. It looks like proxies for all the nobles are here in attendance, except for Lady Naaman, who is here in person, and Lord Gallo, who was obviously his proxy was arrested for treason. At this point, Balan steps forward and says, My Lord King Steppengard, you know me. I am Lord Balan of many places, but representing to you today the good people, your longtime allies, the people of Sequin, who have come to you in petition this very morning for your aid, for your continued alliance, and your continued goodwill. May I speak? And you see the king just kind of goes,
Fuck no.
Oh. He says, Lord Balan, we have met before. I know of you and I know of your predispositions. Pray, do speak. And so Balan begins to speak. In this case, we now step into a skill challenge. So in this case, what we've got is we've got the audience with King Steppengard. All right, so in what we have 4 groups of people. And we have 4 things that you guys can do skill challenges for. So if we look at the 4 groups of people, we're looking at the king, we're looking at the lords and their proxies, we're looking at the king's advisors, and we're looking at Lady Naaman. And basically, the king's advisors would be in the person of Nina Glibglammer and Lady Naaman. So as you are standing there, there are 4 challenges that you guys can rise to. The first one is gather information. Stand there and observe what's going on and provide that information surreptitiously to Lord Balan to say, hey, look, these guys are against you. These guys are running, as he's thinking. So you guys are standing around him, and you can actually give him information as he makes his case. Then you can actually directly assist Lord Balan as he's making a case, which would be, in this case, Lord Balan would say, look, Sir Arendar, will you please tell us what befell you in Sequin? You know, that kind of thing. Or can you tell us Sir Wraith, can you tell us the general disposition of the people of Sequin? Or Lord Vondram of the Lyceum, can you tell us please tell the king the feeling of Chancellor Simeon of the Lyceum and how he still commends to King Steppengard the alliance and the goodwill of the town. And then we have the second. That's 2. So you can go that other way. You can gather information from the area and provide that information to Balan and assist him in his role. You can also assist him directly by standing with him and being there for him to say, look, you can tell us this, you can tell us that. The third skill challenge would be to say it yourself. Say, look, I want to tell my sequence story to the king and explain to him what I want to do, in which case you would actually do it. And then the fourth element of the skill challenge is anything that you think that will help your case that you want to do, any skill that you think that you can make the case will help. You can do that, and we'll see what we can make work. All right. So we've basically got a matrix of 4x4. You've got the various personages, you've got you guys, and the various kind of skill things. Assist Balan, gather information, say it yourself, anything you can think of. Those are the skills. Those are the challenges. Now, each of you can do no more than 2 of those. But each of you can do it and you don't have to participate at all. If you don't feel like you can participate well, you don't have to. But you can only maximize, you can only do 2 of them yourselves.
So are we just making 4 rolls? And one of us can do 2 of those 4 rolls? Is that what you mean?
No, anybody
There's
can,
4
so
things.
all of you could say, all right, we all want to gather information. Okay, and provide that information to thing. And if you succeed at the challenge, Balan gets a bonus on his roll. If you say, I want to assist Balan directly, all of you can do that. And if you are successful, Balan gets additional bonuses. The problem is if you say, I'm going to assist Balan and gather information, you can't do any more, which means you can't speak your own mind or do any other skill challenge that you think will help.
Okay.
The issue is there is a gradation, right? If you do gather information to provide the Balan, it provides essentially, I'll just tell you, it provides +1. If you directly assist Balan, it provides +2 if you're successful. If you say it yourself, it provides +4. And depending on what you select, the anything I can do to help, that is a sliding scale. But if you want to deliver the +4, you have to actually say what you say. Go ahead. What were you saying, Andrew?
Just that I have +18 diplomacy. That's got to be good for speak for.
Yeah.
That would be great. And if you could deliver that diplomacy role in saying what what your experience is in Sequin and telling the king why he should ally with Sequin and should not discount Sequin's help. I have the challenges here, but the challenge, the DCs, but 18 would put you in a very good position to be able to deliver +4 to Balan.
What if you have like no diplomacy and no people skills, essentially?
Well, with a gather info, you could use perception and basically look around and say, "Oh, I see those guys are against us. Those guys are for us. Those guys are nodding." That kind of thing. That will give you a +1. If you can, but you could also look at your skill set and say, I can do, I have an idea, what's your, let me give you an example. What's your best skill?
Yeah.
Your highest
Spellcraft.
spellcraft. Okay. If you can convince me of a way that spellcraft would be applicable here in some fashion, and you make that roll, you can add points to Balan's roll.
Well, she already knew somebody was charmed. I wonder if there's any other magic afoot which Bondrum.
You could look around and see if there's other people who might be charmed or might be.
Okay. All right. So
I mean, if that's the case you want to make, you can make that case. You can say, look, I want to use spellcraft to determine if anybody else in this room is charmed, or maybe there are specific people that you want to look at to see if they're charmed.
So all of us can do 2 roles. We pick whichever one of those 4 groups we want to help with.
Correct.
And the different roles have different. So if I want to say some of my own words, so that has to be a social skill then.
It does, yeah. Bluff or you could use intimidate. You could use bluff. I don't know
Can I
if
use
intimidate would be the right.
I'll use intimidate. It'll just be a aggressive story. How's that?
That could work.
Well, intimidate
I
doesn't mean
suppose.
intimidate doesn't all mean you're yelling at someone and trying to scare them. You can actually keep a super calm
Sure.
voice and just have little undertones that insinuate stuff that makes it an intimidation. So I would say in a courtroom, lots of lawyers do intimidate and keep a very calm,
Sure.
demeanor to them.
Sure.
Okay.
Like being a lawyer is probably a little intimidating anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so do we need to declare what we're doing then?
Well, here I'm gonna make a quick thing here. I'm just gonna switch you up to this thing. So can you guys see that?
Yep.
So I'm just gonna make a quick chart.
So there's supposed to be 1, 2, 3. There's 5 sections there.
He hasn't finished adding in his other columns.
All right, so
Okay, so now there's 4 across, so there's 4 different.
right.
Thank you.
So in this case, so the audiences that you think, so you can try to influence the king directly. All right, and these have different numbers as well. So you can try to influence the king directly. You can try to influence the lords and their proxies. Okay. Hold on a sec.
And the lords in turn influence the king. That's what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah. Well, keep in mind also that the king's decisions can be overruled by, so there's 9 lords. If 6 of them vote against the king, they can overrule the king.
That's a good point. Okay.
All right. Then there's the king's advisors, largely in the person of Nina. Well, I'll just put advisors because she's not the only one.
The little gnome manipulator.
Well, yeah, that's Nina Glibglammer, and she's the king's Lord Chancellor. And then there's Lady Naaman and her entourage. Now she's already, as you know, has well, she has, yeah, she's against you, but largely, I mean, everything that you've learned about her basically says that she's against you because of what happened to Shalosha and Laura Beck.
And
So
I'm hoping it will be softened once she gets the message that we sent to, what was the elf princess's name again?
Shalosha.
Once Shalosha talks to her, since we've talked to Shalosha,
right,
I'm hoping that will soften a bit, but we just don't know if or when that's going to happen. Because we did send a message to Shalosha to say, hey, can you let her know we're here and we are on your guys' side?
It's doubtful it's happened yet.
Right.
I mean, frankly, there's no way it could have happened yet. Not without an incredible amount of
right
speed. Okay.
So can we actually cast spells too, Les?
Not in court. It would, well, I mean, theoretically.
You get caught, you're busted.
Well, certainly I can imagine that several people in court, if you guys started like whipping spells around in the court,
Yeah.
Okay.
that would be that would be seen as
Would be
being
seen as
super cool.
hostile.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so I will tell you that the DCs go up as you go right, but the bonuses go up as you go right. So gather info, I already mentioned, is a +1 bonus. So ultimately, so let me go back a step.
So that's +1. Okay.
Yeah, and directly assist him is +2. Whoops. I wrote +32 in there. That's not going to help.
Only one of those.
Say it yourself is +4. And then whatever you can think of
Variable.
is variable. So it's going to be, we don't know. So it depends on what you do. But ultimately, the reality here is at some point when you guys are done assisting, when you guys are done saying your speech, whatever you guys do, ultimately, I will make a roll for Balan against a DC check. And all of the bonuses that you guys have managed to secure through this chart will be added to that. And that will determine certain things. That make sense?
Okay, what are
And
the
largely,
DCs?
it will determine the attitude of these four people, these four groups of
Right.
people towards you and subsequently towards Sequin.
Okay, what are the DCs for these?
Okay. So for gather info, the DC is 17.
Wow, that's the lowest one?
That's the lowest one.
Yeah.
For assist
Okay.
Balan, the DC is 19. Well, no, let me rephrase that. It varies between 19 and 20 because Lady Name is 20.
Okay.
So Lady Name, so gather info doesn't affect it, but the directly assist Balan, Lady Naaman has higher DCs in all the rest of them. Saying it yourself varies between 22 and 25 DCs, and then depending on, we don't know what the DCs are going to be, but they will probably be in the
Upper teens, lower
20 to 24 range for whatever you could think of.
Sounds nigh impossible.
You have a +18 in diplomacy.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Pretty good.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, but that's only one thing.
Okay. Hey, you're trying to influence the king. It's not easy.
And it's good to be the king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the date on the Monty Python on the Holy Grail?
Monday, April 29th.
Hmm.
Check that website because it's reserves only.
Well, I may have to dig out a costume.
So I'm putting the numbers in. All right, there you go. Those are the DCs for those particular things. Who's ready?
I am.
All right, what are you going to do?
Gather info.
Okay.
I'm gonna use stealth. Try to move about the room and overhear what other groups are saying.
Cool.
All right, sounds good. So you're going to be moving around the room.
Right.
No,
And
all
then,
right.
around.
All
and
right.
then collecting information, hear the whispers of the other groups.
Ooh, okay, so stealth check's good. What about the gather info? So that would be a perception roll.
What?
A perception roll to gather the info itself.
I thought it was only one skill at a time.
Well, you're saying, well, you sort of threw one in there and said, look, I'm moving around
Yeah.
stealthily in the room.
He's using
Yeah.
his stealth skill to
That's
like,
not part of the chart.
I'm using my stealth skill to gather info.
so basically he's just there when the stuff's he's
I'm-
sneaking around, but
I'm-
he's there as people are saying stuff.
I'm sneaking around not being noticed and overhearing what they're saying and relating that back to Bailey.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
okay,
a
all right.
perception check.
I did. Okay, no, I'm gonna allow this. The stealth check puts him in a position to hear these things. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, all right, that roll got you the bonuses. So we're gonna hold on a second. Let's gonna go here, and we are going to. All right, so that's a bad color. We should not use that. There we go. Okay, so all right, so Wraith, you rolled a 29, which is great. and you manage to get in there and listen to various kinds of info that you subsequently used your stealth to come back during the speech and provide that information to Balan so that he can modify his or emphasize certain points. So
Right.
that is +1 against all these guys.
Okay.
Cool. All right. That's one for you. Is there another thing that you want to do? You want to try the directly assist Balan?
What was directly assist Balan?
Basically whisper in his ear. Or or put yourself available so that he can refer to you and say, this man here was in sequence during the time of these things. He's going the oration that he's doing. It's probably going to last like a half an hour.
Right.
So he's really sort of
What
going
do we
into
have
it.
to roll to get that +2?
So
the
what?
directly assist, the
What
skill would
skills?
depend. It would probably be one of something like
Would be one of the social skills, or could it be?
it would be one of the social skills, unless you can make the case for a different skill. I don't know that in this case you can use stealth.
No, but sense motive. Now that I've heard what all these other groups are whispering.
Knowledge local could help. That kind of thing.
Right. But what about sense motive?
I'll allow it. Sense motive would work. It
So
allows
now
you
that-
to sort of help him tailor his speech to them.
Right.
Since motive 29. All right. So in this case,
Oh,
that beats that. Very good. And what we're going to do is you have delivered the goods.
Way to go, man.
woohoo.
Now I'm done.
I think
Nice.
Vondrum's ready to guess. I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. All right, Vondrum, what do you got in mind? What are you going to do?
So you're saying knowledge local might be of assistance to Balan, to directly assist Balan?
I think so, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially since you were once a student at the Lyceum.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, you have a personal connection to those guys.
All right. So I'm going to try that.
All right. Ooh, did not work.
And then the other thing I was thinking about, I mean, what I can think of, what is that? Just anything goes? I mean,
So
Yeah.
anything go? Yeah, if you can make the case for any skill that you have, that you could say, look, I think that this could be applicable in this way, and I want to try it. We'll talk about it, and if
okay, well, what I was thinking is, could I not use my skill craft, my spellcraft, to build to tell Balan to let the king know that to aid him in all these complicated decisions, that I feel strongly that aiding, going the sequence is a good idea, but to aid him in moving forward in this process, since he has fears, is to provide him with a zone of truth magical item to assist him in his communications throughout the process of this.
so you're saying that you're basically advising Balan and saying, look, tell Balan that we can provide him magical assistance in the form of items and that kind of thing that will help him to decipher the truth out of what's
moving
going on.
forward. Yes.
I think that would work. Yeah, go for it. I'm going to
Oh,
set a DC at 22 on that.
and this is for spellcraft. Right?
Yep. Wow. Okay. So he does seem amenable to that. So
Okay.
I'm going to say that's a 22, and I think that's going to be a +2.
Okay.
All right. So that would be
I'll take what I can get.
successful there. So Vondrum +2. All right. Perfect. Hold on a second.
Nice.
Let's.
Yay.
Well done. All right. Hold on. So I'm putting, so you see me putting some of these in each box. The king, the proxies, the advisors, and Lady Naaman all have different DCs and have different outputs from what happens to this. So that's
Yeah.
why I want to put that in there, because it won't be easy for some as others. And also there could be, in this case, the 25 was more than enough. But sometimes what if she had rolled Jennifer had rolled a 17, right? Well, that would work for the lords, the proxies and advisors, but it would not work for Lady Naaman or the king in this case of gather info, for example.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there are differences.
If
All
you're,
right.
if you're really close, chances are you only get a couple columns, not all of them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So Wraith and Vondrum have given their all here. Who's next?
I'll go.
All right.
There
Andrew.
we go. FaceTime.
Idis, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to use diplomacy and say it myself.
All right. So what you stand for, Balan says, Lord, King Steppenguard, I think that you should hear it in the words of a man from Sequin, a man from Gate Pass. And I present you such a man. Here is Sir Titus, sorcerer of note, a man of honor, here to tell you what he has seen and what he knows about the motives and the people of Sequin. Please, Lord Titus, Sir Titus, please tell the king what you know.
Well,
Hey.
King,
What the heck?
King, it's like this.
Oh, a natural one, Andrew.
Dude. Eric,
How does that
I'm
happen?
disappointed in you.
Perhaps I misspoke.
Okay.
Hey, you still got one more try of something.
Well, I guess I can
Come on,
directly
Andrew.
assist Balan with disguise and act out. Like I can look
Well,
like
wait,
a Sargavin or a.
If he has another try, can he try diplomacy again for
You
say
can
it
try
yourself?
diplomacy again, yeah. To try and sort of remedy from that, bring it back.
Yeah,
That's okay. If I can do that, that's probably my
your
biggest
your
bet.
voice broke and you peed yourself, but you got a second chance.
Okay.
King Steppenguard, please pay no attention to the moistened spot upon my trousers.
Okay. Here we go.
Booyah.
27. All right. So that changes these two green. Well done. He managed. So Titus, you guys were watching him, and as he's speaking, you guys are like, oh shit, he's crashing and fucking burning. We're all gonna die. But he manages to turn it around, and at the last minute, he begins to make sense. The moist patch on his trousers dries up, and everything seems to have returned to normal.
I just can't turn
And
around.
he gets the +4. Well done. All right, but he took 2 tries, but so he doesn't get to participate in anything else. But you do have a green and say it yourself.
Thank you for the suggestion, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Who is next?
Do we
I'll
have
go.
enough? Do we have another diplomat?
Yeah, I'll go.
+4 seems to be the big one. So anybody who's
Yeah, I'm gonna try to say it yourself.
All
Yeah.
right.
with
Now, may I present Sir Arendar, who has fought on behalf of the town of Sequin and of the town of Gate Pass against our erstwhile friends here in court. You can see there's one guy, there's a Sargavin contingent, and there's one guy over there. When you say that, this guy starts looking at you, and he's like, "The fuck you say?"
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you,
Robert Downey Jr.
somebody listen. No, it's not. But if somebody leans over and goes, "That's Inquisitor Petrus. He is high up in the ranks of the
That's
of
one
the
in Preston's
Scourge."
suppository.
yeah, and I'm stealth right behind him with a dagger in my hand.
Yeah.
Well, and look they've got a Cylon on their side too. Look at the background there.
I've
I don't know
seen
what's
that.
good. So I don't know what's going on there. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna pull off the helmet. That'll be the new Starbuck, and she's hot.
so he's not happy about all of this. And freaking daggers at you guys straight away. But you guys get back to here. Arendar, tell us your story. Tell the king your story. All right, what do you say?
Nice.
So basically, I will tell the story of, look, we're just humble people from Gate Pass, and we were there. We saw people coming in that we thought were our allies. Eventually, we were attacked, and they pretty much won from the inside. We had no chance to fight or do anything. We pretty much lost because they were already among us. we've basically been forced to go to Sequin for our lives, and now we're here on Sequin's behalf. And then, yeah, basically just talk about, look, we want the same thing as you guys. We just want peace. We want everyone to get along, and that's what we're here trying to keep some additional war from happening.
Okay. All right. So that gets in there. All right. So
That's my first one.
yep. What are you gonna do next? Now you can't say it yourself again. So
Right. I am gonna do directly assist Balan.
okay. And what
Um,
skills shall you use?
Can I use the same one, or do I
Yeah,
have-
you can if you want. It's a bit unheard of. What are you gonna intimidate the locals? It's like, hey,
Heck
shut up
yeah.
over there.
You shut up.
He's gonna stare back at that douchebag.
Actually,
from
yeah, I'm gonna
Sargava
stare back at what's his name.
Okay.
until he cows down.
Give us a roll, buddy.
Oh,
Oh,
Ooh,
fuck.
natural one. Did
Didn't
not
do it.
stare him down. If anything, you were feeling he
So
stares at you.
I got something caught in my eye just as I look at him, and I'm just like, oh dang
Sorry.
it, and start blinking, and
Damn it, Dust.
then he thinks I'm crying, so then I'm all embarrassed. I'm like, dang it, he thinks I'm crying.
Well,
now.
well, here's what happens. I mean, in the natural one, he's definitely got your attention, and he's looking at you very curiously, sort of like a guy with a bug and a pin sort of looks at the bug, that kind of thing.
Should I kill
And
him now?
he's like, oh, now I know who my true enemies are. All right, so Arendar, you have done good, but also not as good. There are only a few left. What about you, Ono?
Okay. Odo is not a charismatic young man. He's
That's true.
actually, he
He's a wise,
He's
he
gonna run
naive
over.
young man.
He's gonna run and punch the Sargavan in the nuts.
so I mean, Odo was gonna make a speech about how the spirit and the bravery of the people of of Sequin.
Oh, wait,
stand-
wait. He turned on us.
standing up to the bullies and tyrants of Sargava, because Sequin is about to be overwhelmed, and how people will be killed and families sundered, families broken apart, horribly. So I was trying to tailor my speech to include consideration of the king's recent loss,
Okay.
and I was trying also to impress him with my admiration for brave people who stand up to tyrants.
Can you use flurry of blows to fillet them into retreats?
That's not the blows he's talking about.
But you
So
know,
Eric, what skill are you using?
I'm
well,
writing that down, though.
but see, I don't think I should do that though, because I have such a low. My charisma is not the best, and I'm not a very good. I have no diplomacy.
You have a good perception. If you got good perception, you can help with the first one.
Well, I had a second plan.
Oh,
It in this. Hear me out. In this court, are there helpers?
Oh, like assistants and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Functionaries, assistants, they're everywhere.
Are they dressed in any kind of official robe?
Many of them
Well,
are wearing livery of the various lords and their houses.
you're not gonna be rogue one of them, are
Some
you?
of them, a great many of them are wearing the king's colors as well.
I see. If I could somehow get a livery, a king colored livery, I could go around and be a humble helper and gather information just as Wraith smartly did. I could do that. I just, Ono is not the best in this. Ono's here to punch things.
Yeah.
Which we appreciate.
Ono's not really. This is not a very good situation for Ono. I'm afraid I'm going to cause a blunder. So I might
Wouldn't
just.
punching Scowly guy in the between the eyes.
Well,
What can you think of?
I could do that. I mean, I could go over there and really knock.
Really punch the Inquisitor?
Yeah, but would that help? Would that help?
I don't know. I've only been in a court a couple of times, but I always, whenever I've been in court, I've always felt, you know, what really sort of
We're lining it up.
takes things to 11 is if I punch somebody.
So, um,
You're in the king's court. You can't just go punching ambassadors and inquisitors. Nor, I don't think, can you steal people's clothing.
so
Hey, look over there. Snatch. It's not like they're wearing novelty T-shirts that you can just tear off them.
okay, I guess it's not very lawful to punch,
Well,
subdue someone, steal his clothes, and
Well, certainly, I mean, if you want to impress the king, I don't know that punching the Sargovan Inquisitor is the way to go in the middle of the thing. However, what you can do is if you want to mingle among the more common people to try and gather information, you can certainly do that. And if you want to speak directly to the king to stand up and say, look, I'm just a lawful good teenager, but here is what I have seen, not counting the torture and murder that my friends have done. Because I didn't see that, they forced me to go in a different room.
I didn't see it.
There you go.
It didn't happen, and but if I make that roll, I'm probably there's a good chance I'm gonna do bad. And right now we're up. I think I don't want to jinx it. I think I'm gonna. Can I do just one thing?
Sure, if you want. You don't have to do two. You can do no more than two.
Okay,
Sure.
cool.
Well, what do you have to
Balan
lose?
with-
Sorry.
What do you have to lose?
I mean, what if I roll a 1 or a 2 or
It's a want.
2 of us have already read one, so
okay.
What kind of wisdom checks are there? You could
Very well.
directly assist Balan. You could give him a cone, like be the wind.
Let's okay. I'm gonna
Break the wind, Balan.
stand up.
Break like the wind.
Shuffle my feet uncomfortably. I'm gonna go. Your Highness,
So you're speaking to the king himself.
I'm
Okay.
just a humble teenager. I'm really nervous. Sorry, but the people of Sequin, they're just astonishing. Their spirit, their courage, and they're standing up to tyrants and so on and so on. So I'll make that roll. What roll should I make?
In this case, persuasion, maybe bluff, diplomacy certainly would work here. Any of the more social roles. You could use intimidate potentially, depending. What do you have? What's best? What do you have that has the most points in it?
Can I use dexterity?
I don't think so. Yeah,
wait,
no,
if you did
it's
it
not
as a
like you're gonna
tongue
do a
twister.
magic trick or tumble through there. I mean,
Well, tongue twister. Tidy boy sitting on a crate, chirping and piping.
this pigeon is like the Sargovans, that kind of thing. Nah, see it gone.
Because when I'm
No, I
back,
don't know that Dex will work. It would have to be something along the lines of a skill.
I knew it was a long shot. I can't acrobat my way through this conversation. I'm gonna.
the first column of perception's an easy one.
Wait a minute. Couldn't he entertain the king, lighten his load with some acrobatics, do some tumbling?
It's not a circus.
No, but the king looks weary and could probably stand some amusement. Say, let's just break, give the king a chance to rest his weary brow. I'm going to perform some acrobatics.
Keep in mind, all this sort of stuff is happening within the context of Balan is giving a lengthy and detailed sort of entreaty to the king to
exactly
not
why
to...
he needs a break.
I get that. I don't think that's going to work, though. I don't think it's going to impress him.
I'm actually pretty good at swim.
That's not gonna help.
He could swim on the
Les
floor.
hasn't had enough of those, what was it, a gin and
Got it. Yeah, right.
what was your new drink?
Generita?
What, Generita? Yeah, he hasn't had enough Generitas yet.
Yes. Can I do a?
How about perception? You
All right.
gotta have a perception skill.
I
Yeah,
do have
perception would certainly get you in the gather info. You could
All
try
right,
that.
well,
You could
great.
meld into the crowd, talk, maybe talk a bit with the servants, that kind of thing, the
Sure.
functionaries.
I will ingratiate myself with the servants and whomever I drift near. So should I roll a perception?
Mhm.
Here it comes. Perception and did I go 24.
24. That's great. You did great.
And
So
I would
yeah,
argue-
you do find a fair amount of information that you would find valuable and that ultimately will benefit Balan.
All right, great, cool. You know what? I'm gonna stop there. I think I've done my best.
Where they go? Oh no.
The worst you can do is miss it
Filthy punch.
if you try
Well,
something else.
All right, you know what? Fine then.
My perception for some other thing that you made up.
Um,
Maybe we
I-
can get more in that last category.
well, let's see. Odo is going to.
So you could specifically target, if you want to use perception in the what can you think of, here's an idea. You could specifically target the king or Lady Naaman to try and determine what their attitude is, and maybe you could try advise Balan that Lady Naaman, that seemed to work on her. When you talk about sequence dedication to law and good, that kind of thing, that would work. You know, those kind of things. So you could use a perception to try and do that. It would also be a +2 if you manage to get it. But you could target a particular set of people.
Lord and proxies, advisors. I don't know exactly what I would say to the Lord and
Well, you
proxies.
won't be saying anything. What you would basically be
Oh.
saying is, like, if you want to use perception, you would basically be trying to identify maybe some
Yeah.
topics or
Right.
themes in Balan's
Okay,
speech that seem to be resonating with those people that you notice. Oh, well, Lady Naaman really responded. You know, she's very negative, but she also responded positively to the idea of Balan saying nice things about the elves, for example. You know, that kind of thing.
sure. You know what? I am actually gonna consider the Lady Naaman, and
Okay.
I'm gonna I don't know, read her face, read the tilt of her chin, and try to estimate her mood with a perception check.
Perfect. Okay. Do it.
Here comes trouble. For,
14. Yeah, that did not work. So you can't tell whether or not she can what she looks aggravated all the time at Balan. So
yeah, all right.
you gave it a shot though. That's okay. All right.
Right.
So that was Ono. All right. Sorry, I gotta get my sheet here.
Les, I forgot. What was the goal? Do we have a certain point total to hit?
Well, no, basically you're trying to accumulate as many bonus points as you can to provide to Balan. Ultimately, I'm going to roll for Balan based on the chart that I have here, and I'm going to add those add those bonus points in to see what happens.
I gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot.
All right. So all right, the last but certainly not least, Poe.
Okay, I'm gonna do gather info with perception and directly assist Balan with a sense motive to try to find things he might be missing about certain groups of people, or, you know, what the king's perceptions are at certain points.
Perfect. Okay.
And they're both +10, so I just got to roll twice. And
All
looks like-
right. Gather info. Oh, you missed both.
Ouch.
well,
So
bummer.
15 and 17. Yeah, you missed both. Man, ooh, that was tough. That was a tough one, but no success there. All right, Poe. Well, sorry about that. All right, so that means if we look, we have the same bonuses against everybody. So we got plus for gather info, we got +2 total. For directly assist, we have +2 total. For say it yourself, we have +8. And for what can you think of, we have +2. So the total bonus to Balan is 14 points. Is that accurate? Do you guys see that?
Yep.
All right.
Nice.
So I'm going to roll a d20. We're going to add 14 to this to get the overall roll. Are we ready?
Okay. Who?
Hi.
Is that a 1?
25.
11. Right.
25. Okay. So, oh shit, I didn't add.
Yep, skill.
Okay. Hold on a second. All right, never mind. So 11 and 14 is 25. Balan finishes and says, my lord king, you know me. You know Sequin. You know the people of Sequin have always been in support of you. And while a great tragedy has befallen you and your house, our dedication to you has not flagged one bit. The only thing that we have changed is in our attitude toward those who would take our lands, who would dominate our governments, who would enslave our people. And he gives a sort of like exaggerated look over to the Inquisitor. He says, these people, those who would do us harm, those who have already done you harm, are our true enemies. I implore you to consider that when you consider the question of opening the Elite Pass. Steppengard sort of moves a little bit and he says, well, you have quite a silver honey tongue. But tell me, Balan, how many friends have you lost in this war? How many of your family has been killed as part of what is going on? And he sort of waits, and Balan's like, my lord, I have been fortunate. I have no family to speak of, so I've lost none. Friends I have in multitude, but I am thankful that so far the losses that I personally have felt are low. Steppengard does not like this answer, and he says, I have lost 19 people in my family. My wife, my children. I would have been glad if it was me. But instead, I have suffered enough for my entire country. No others, as far as I will have it, will lose their families in a fight that is not of the Bandu people. If Sequiners were my subjects, the damage they have done in our relationships with the Sargavans would be tantamount to treason.
Oh dear.
He looks back at all you guys and basically looks over at the envoy and says, I'll give you 3 days in my city of Bresk. Perhaps in that time, Balan, you can use your poet's tongue to persuade the Sargavans to show you mercy. I truly hope that none of you will have to feel the same loss that I have. But by leaping into a conflict that does not belong to you, you are calling such a wound down on your house, your kin, and yourselves. He sits back. I am done with you, Balan. I have heard enough. Who next wishes to address the King's Council?
Oh dear.
And at that point, functionaries come over and basically said, it's time to go. And they move you out into the thing. Balan stands there. He's like, I don't know how well that went. He goes, look, I'll be honest. I've done better in front of him. He goes, I appreciate all your help. And I have to say, you, Titus, Arendar, all of you have been especially helpful today. And frankly, I think that my arguments would even be less compelling had you not been there, much less compelling. So I thank you for everything that you have done. But I must be honest with you. I do not think that we have, I could not consider what we have just done to be a rousing success. I believe that the death of the king's family has affected him in a way that mere speeches could not change.
Huh.
Maybe what you're doing maybe you can find some more evidence against this Ja'as that we could bring to the king. Maybe there is some way that we can affect a different outcome, but I must be honest, I don't think that we have swayed him. I really don't.
No. I don't think we didn't sway him. I know we didn't sway him.
That was me trying to be gentle.
No. Say,
I didn't want to open my discussions with you and say, man, that was a colossal fucking shit show, wasn't it?
but you know us.
What was
and
that
I'll be
the other
surprised.
night?
I'll be surprised if our heads are not on pikes by the end of the day.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
this
much how
town is a shit show.
Maybe you should make your peace with your ancestors before we were all slain at the hands of the Sargovans. You know that I wasn't going to open with that. But yeah, no, he's putting it lightly, but he's like, that could have been better. The reaction could have been better. I think we did all we could. He goes, honestly, I think that in the time it took us to get from Sequin to here, and perhaps even previously, the Sargovans have been working on him. And this Nina Glibglammer does not strike me as somebody who has on our side. And Lady Naaman, who has, very likely to become the next queen of the Bandu, is obviously against us. We didn't convince her. I'll be blunt. We did not convince her that we have that what happened to Princess Shalosha and what happened to Laura Beck were not the fault of Sequin. And honestly, it was a tough argument to make. I mean, it's hard to say that this was not our fault. We could say, Vorper did it, but I don't know that will help. Obviously, you've talked to Shalosha, you've left messages for her. Maybe those messages will come in time, but we have no confidence in that. I think we need to be very careful the next couple of days. What do you think?
Man, we're fucked.
Are you using diplomacy to roll that one, or
Yes, that was my button.
alas, we are fucked.
I think you did all the fancy talking you can do. It's time to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down. You've done.
Now we do what we do best.
Yeah.
Well,
Now it's time for all of you diplomats to go the fuck away.
I'm not lawful good.
Now it's time to fuck shit up. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, you guys did a yeoman's job. I mean, and 25 is nothing to sneeze at, but certainly you didn't convince Lady Naaman of the appeal to Sequin. The advisors, yeah, largely maybe are convinced. Certain members of the Lords and Proxies are sympathetic, but also the king did not seem to be swayed. The reality is probably that the Sargovans have been talking to him, and have made their case. He's already signed a non-aggression pact with him.
That would be because our diplomat rolled an 11.
But he later rolled a 27.
What difference does it make?
What did you do?
What do you mean, what I do?
You got 3. I got 4.
Now, says Balan, we all contributed. Everyone did their part, and everyone did their best. I hold no grudge, and I hold none of you above the other. We've all done as best as we can.
Yeah, I don't talk good. I do kill good.
I
So
don't
let's-
talk good.
So let's go.
Let's go kill stuff.
I am Groot.
All right, and with
Okay.
that, the king's coach retrieves you outside of the thing, and you guys head back to the Golden Griffin to figure out what you're going to do next.
All right.
And it's at that point that we will stop for the evening. It is 11 o'clock. And we will return to Bresk and the Golden Griffin and the plans that are being laid the next time we play.
All right. Wow. Okay.
thanks, Les.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. Well done.
Thank
Right.
you. All right.
Hey, it's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Doug.
Hey, Chuck, can you hang on a second?
Good night.
Sure.
Chuck.
See you guys.
Yeah, I'm all good.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh.